call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Here?
Freeholder Driscoll.
Here.
Freeholder Felice.
Here.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson.
Present.
Freeholder Voss.
Here.
Chairman Mitchell.
Present. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand in honor of America. Right. Stating the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Ryan, can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, I think we have some minutes you want to articulate.
We do. Work session, September 12th, 2012, absent, none. Public meeting, September 12th, 2012, absent, none. Work session, September 19th, 2012, absent, none.
So moved.
Minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, before I open the meeting to the public, I'm going to ask Parks Director Ron Kistner just to come up and make a brief statement of interest to the public.
It rained last weekend. Sorry.
Thank you. The reason I asked to speak is when I got the opportunity, when County Executive Donna gave me the chance to be the Parks Director, one of the things I dreamed about was having a county fair here in Bergen County, and I kind of envisioned being a football fan. I always looked at the Oklahoma-Texas game as the state fair in that area. And here in Bergen County, we're lucky enough to have two great high school programs that are nationally known, Don Bosco Prep and Bergen Catholic High School. And both the schools have been great with me. They have agreed to play for 2 years, this year and next year, share the home and home game at Overpeck Park. This year's game will be played on Saturday, October 27th at 1 p.m. We have met today organizing the meeting. The game's going to be shown live on NSG Varsity. But right now, both teams are nationally ranked, and it's going to be a great game. And both are still nationally ranked, even with the loss. They're both still nationally ranked.
I think one's higher than the other.
I'm not saying who's who. But I just wanted to thank you and let everybody know about that. It's going to be a carnival, Fall Harvest Festival, Thursday evening, the 25th and the 26th in the new Overpeck Park. Musical entertainment is going to be provided by local young people, residents of Bergen County, both those nights, as well as Saturday, with Haunted Hayride, carnival, very family-oriented event. The game on Saturday afternoon, and Saturday evening, we're going to have a country music concert. Chief of Staff Baradas keeps telling me I happen to love country music. I think, and we are in negotiation with a nationally known performer who I think everybody's going to like. I'm going to finish the contract this week, I hope. And my goal is to invite any veterans, our guest of honors of the county. I want as many veterans to come, sit in the front row, be the guest of honors for the concert, because without those guys and people and ladies, we couldn't have an event like this. So I want to make sure they get honored. Thank you very much.
Chairman?
Yes, Freeholder.
Yeah, not like I'm biased or anything, but sorry. Since we have somebody from the other side on the dais this evening, I would like to make a friendly wager of who is going to win. Since we have two, they're going to be 2-0 by the end of the time, I think. Dinner for the staff at our next Freeholder meeting after the 27th, Freeholder? Sound good?
Sounds good to me.
Beautiful.
Who's taking what?
Hey, that's why I asked if they were both nationally ranked. I know one is. Thank you, Chairman.
All right, thank you. All right, could I have a motion to open the meeting to the
So-
public?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, by a show of hands, please come up. I would ask, we have a lot of people that are here tonight. We have a packed house. I would ask if you could to keep your. I'm not gonna knock anybody off, but if you could keep your comments to say around 3 minutes, I would appreciate it. And in addition, freeholders, when we get to our committee reports and other reports, if you could try to keep it within the 10-minute time frame, I'd appreciate that too. I'm not going to gavel anyone down, but please try to stay within that time frame. I want to get and I want to listen to as many people as possible. So show of hands, Mrs. Winton.
Susan Winton, Wyckoff, New Jersey. First, I have a question. I noticed item 1325-12, resolution authorizing shared services agreement with Township of Wyckoff for home rehabilitation program. Could somebody please tell me what this is all about? As a resident of Wyckoff, I am totally unaware of this.
Can you help her out, Mrs. Barada, please?
I'm not authorized to speak at these meetings.
I don't understand.
Read Judge Tosca's decision. I'll make a note of it and bring your inquiry back to the administration.
You got the response. We'll get back to you. We're going to try to remedy this, the judge's ruling to make this a little bit more interactive down the road.
So
There's
when
no
we
remedy
have,
required of the judge's ruling, Chairman, respectfully. There's no remedy of the judge's ruling required,
so
Chairman.
when we have a question about one of the issues that you're voting on, we can't get an answer as to what the issue, what the...
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Please, I'll answer simply for you, Mrs. Winton. This is in regard to administering the COA program, Council on Affordable Housing for Wyckoff, which is outsourced in many towns. And it's going to be a shared services agreement with Bergen County's Community Development Division out of Planning and Economic
And was this
Development.
requested by the Township of Wyckoff?
It was. It was.
Very interesting, thank you.
You're welcome.
This summer, I testified before the State Committee on Economic Growth. There were two bills there, S-2156, which had to do with abandoned and foreclosed properties, and S-2157, which had to do with foreclosed properties. You drive up and down Route 17 and see the empty stores. Drive up and down Route 4 and you see empty stores. This is all an indication of the economic malaise in Bergen County and New Jersey. It's the fiscal, as far as I'm concerned, it's the fiscal responsibility of the Board of Freeholders to keep taxes as low as possible so that people can maintain their homes in Bergen County. People are moving out at an incredible pace. Foreclosed homes in our towns are growing. I assumed that the freeholders were supposed to represent we the people. But on the question of consolidation, no consideration was given to the people who have to pay for the two services. There was a bill before this, or an issue before this committee that would have allowed the people to vote on a non-binding resolution as to how they felt about combining the two services. And because of litigation that was brought, we the people were disenfranchised. And I find that absolutely reprehensible. The county police working with municipalities that was proposed at the work session today, to me, is a loss of independence from the municipalities. Each town has its own unique characteristic and qualities, and they know their people. I had an experience with the police when the Wyckoff police, when you called in, you got to another town, a neighboring town. And I mentioned something that happened on a street in Wyckoff. And the dispatcher who answered my call said, I have no idea where you're talking about. Imagine putting county police in charge of the towns or implementing security for the towns, and this just gets worse. They don't know the towns, and to propose that the county police take over or share the concern, the job of policing the towns, to me, is just an implementation of Agenda 21, which takes the rights of we the people away from us and creates a socialist, a total, I'm trying to think of the word, creates a situation where we the people no longer run our own lives. And when I heard that proposed today at the work session, I was horrified. I really am concerned about where the county of Bergen is going. I have heard the county administrator, county executive tell people to join Sustainable Jersey. Well, Sustainable Jersey is another step towards Agenda 21, which is eliminating the rights of the people and giving it to the government. And I'm very concerned. But most of all, I'm concerned that the right, we the people, to voice our opinion in a non-binding resolution as to how we feel we should be policed or have the help of police, keeping it within the financial confines where we can afford it. Things have gotten very bad. We can't afford luxuries, and perhaps 2 police departments, a county police and a sheriff's department, which can be combined and do with one group the services that we all need, is the way to go and to help us stay in Bergen County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wynn.
Mrs. Whitten, Mr. Chairman, just
Certainly.
a quick thing I want to address. Having been the mayor of Franklin Lakes and knowing that our police department's mutual aid is Franklin Lakes, Oakland, and Wyckoff, we always had an excellent relationship and really needed to rely on one another so that we would have that continued quality of public service. And I feel strongly that the majority of our police officers, I'll say, are familiar with all 3 towns. They're small towns. I'm sorry you had a negative experience, but it's something that's always worked well in the past.
Yes.
Our fire departments as well rely heavily on
Yes,
that
it's
mutual aid
shared
process.
services when it is needed. It is not the question of having the county police come in to the towns and take over the responsibilities of the towns.
But I
First
think
of
it's
all,
important that we just separate
Hold on.
those 2
I-
things.
It's
That's
it's
all.
I really
a
have
very
to-
different thing than I'm talking about,
Right.
Freeholder. Yes, we do share services, we share purchases, we do all this, but the integrity of the town has to be maintained. And when you say that the county police should take over some of the functions, you are losing the integrity of the town.
Thank you, Mrs. Wynn. The lady there, please.
Thank you. Susanna Michaels, Oradell. Pay-to-play reform is important to me as a voter because it impacts the price tag, quality, and worthiness of projects in Bergen County. As a result, it affects my taxes. If you don't already believe pay-to-play is corrosive to government, I hope my presence here helps to convince you that constituents are still monitoring your vote on these issues. This is my first visit to the Freeholders, and I'm sorry to say it is prompted by sheer frustration. Isn't it ironic that this is being done during the presidential debate? The Freeholders already passed an effective pay-to-play reform with Ordinance 1111. It has the confidence of the public because it follows the Citizen Campaign Model Bill. Now you are proceeding to vote to repeal it and replace it just before the current election. Reform has not lasted 1 election cycle. New Jersey courts have allowed comparable ordinances to stand, but Ordinance 1111 has not even been brought to the courts. A cynic might come to the conclusion that some freeholders may prefer that the courts do not have the opportunity to uphold and say that this ordinance is constitutional. I understand that the purpose of Ordinance 1111 is for the elimination of pay-to-play practices in Bergen County. Reform is what constituents want. A replacement riddled with loopholes will not do. Isn't it time to help develop a world that should be? Make young people proud of you and just say no to this repeal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I see a hand up. Is that Carol Lee? Sorry.
Carol Lee Adams in Montvale. Good evening, members of the Board of Freeholders. I have 4 quick things, one longer than the other. First of all, there was a meeting yesterday at the Commerce and Industry Association about a red tape panel. And unfortunately, I would love to hear whether or not somebody from the Board of Freeholders attended and what their thoughts were about it. It was to reduce the red tape that prevents businesses from from growing and functioning well here in Bergen County in particular. I was intending to go and couldn't, so perhaps you would like to find out from others. It was State Senator Steve Oroho, State Senator Scott Romano, and perhaps John Bersheli, and they report back to Lieutenant Governor Guadagno, and there were various members of the business community as well as taxpayers in general invited. Number two, much of what I see as to the expenditures that county taxpayers, state, federal taxpayers, has a lot to do with juvenile delinquency or dysfunctional families. And throughout so much of the things that I've been involved in over the years, I've always found that intact marriages produce the finest opportunity for young people to grow and flourish. So I would seek perhaps with the, I believe it is Freeholder Dina Cola, to look into how to somehow or another encourage marriage here in Bergen County. We always seem to be in crisis mode regarding these situations. It costs us a lot of money. Certainly we start within our own families and our neighbors and our family and our friends. But, without spending any money, is to somehow or another promote marriage for the sake of children and the next generation and the taxpayers who ultimately pay the price. There was a book written called Coming Apart, and the name of the author is so well known, and I was at a meeting where he spoke here. He's a social scientist, Harvard PhD, about how families are coming apart and how much it's costing the taxpayers because of that. The third thing is about pay to play. Simplistically, I would comment that pay to play, and I understand the frustration with people that they feel that there's too much corruption involved in granting contracts by government officials. However, the very essence of our Constitution is based upon freedom of expression. And freedom of expression allows us to donate to whom we want and when we want. And so therefore, I think that the pay-to-play ordinance that was put forward the last time was much too stringent, much too harsh, and that the attempt to do away with it is a good one. At the same time, I believe that men and women who have been elected to office, like you, our prosecutor's office, they all have the responsibility to make sure that there is no corruption and that the contracts are not given willy-nilly and that there's not an unnecessary abuse of those contracts. For us to preclude good contractors from both simultaneously donating to the candidate of their choice and yet doing fine construction, as an example, is actually very insane. So I support the pay-to-play elimination that you did before. And as I said, I tend to think it's just an limit. It's to support the very essence of constitutional right for freedom of expression. The fourth thing is about the ordinance. I sat through the work session meeting before you had the public meeting here tonight. And prior to coming to the work session meeting, I was tweeting for the last 3 days. And I'm a new learner at this. You can teach an old dog new tricks. And things go like this today in modern technology and in communication. And then I come into a meeting like that, and it's so grinding, and it's so grudging, and we never get through anything. And it's so frustrating, and I can understand where people are tired with that type of governance. I came to the meeting when the guidepost study was first presented in May of 2011. And I thought to myself, having been an executive with Citibank at one time, if I knew that my boss had spent over $600,000 for a study, I would take that study and I would work with it, and I would have a plan within a month to 2 months' time. And I've heard that people say, well, we had a plan, or I had a plan, or I was never asked for a plan. No excuse. The plan should have been presented last year by whomever and whatever. And then to have so many monkey wrenches thrown into the process, whereby there's been, and I've said this before, character assassinations against people of good faith. Chairman Freeholder Mitchell, you have been chastised unnecessarily, and I sincerely regret it. I sincerely regret it. Tonight, Sheriff Sordino offered a plan, an idea. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. In fact, I thought I heard that it was saving more money than originally from the guidepost study. I may have misunderstood. And it's not just 2 cents a day per family. For my community, it could be $250,000 by the 3rd or the 4th or the 5th year, which means that we could afford to fix our crumbling firehouse, or we could afford to hire another policeman, or, my goodness, we could afford to have our taxes cut. So I commend Sheriff Sordino for that wonderful plan. I thought it was excellent. I thought he had a good idea. I also commend County Police Chief Brian Higgins. I think that both Sheriff Sordino and Brian Higgins have acted with a great deal of courtesy involved, and I know that this has caused a great deal of stress among their forces, and that's very regrettable. But from outward appearances, it appears that they still are able to retain their composure when they're presenting their positions. Not so tonight with County Executive Kathy Donovan. I was ashamed to think that
Carol,
I will get back to.
Please.
Okay, I will,
Let's
if
not-
I may, I will
not.
continue. I will continue. The office of sheriff, to me, is constitutional. As I talked about from the very beginning, as for a constitutional effort regarding pay to play, to me, the sheriff is the last line of defense in our country. You know, we may think that we are free from tyranny. Well, not so. There are people in the Southwest, even South Carolina, who use the sheriff as their last line of defense against tyrannical governing leaders. So that, to me, the sheriff's office is extraordinarily important in that regard. People say he's elected. Well, thank heavens he is, because we can unelect him. We can fire him. And honestly, if it were Sheriff Sordino or anybody else where I had a difference of opinion with them, or I thought they were not carrying forth with their constitutional duties, I would make every effort to expose that and to make sure that they weren't reelected.
Can I ask
So
you-
having said all that,
Can I ask you to wrap up?
absolutely,
please.
anything you say. Thank you very much for your time. I trust that whatever you do on the ordinance tonight, from what I understand, that there would be a veto that would be coming if you do it one way or the other, and I'm sorry to say, it should never, ever have come to this. The monkey wrenches should never have occurred. It should have been done last year, and I know who's accountable, and I won't mention any further names,
Please.
but I will not ever help them get reelected. Thank you.
Thank you. The lady right there. You're next. No, go ahead.
Yeah, you're okay.
Go ahead. You're next.
Nina Levinson, Fourth League.
Spell your last name. Spell your last name.
Levinson.
Thank you.
This is back to front.
Yeah.
That's my problem, okay. Let me, I apologize.
Take your time.
I have a few questions of various items in here. I'm sort of new here and I don't understand all your language. I'm on item number 58 on page 5. It says you're going to enter into an area plan contract. And it relates to aging, Division of Aging Services. And I am beyond that by now, but I'm interested in that, and I'd like to know what that is about. It's on page 5.
I'm gonna have to get to the resolution.
No, you can't turn it around. It's wired into the floor.
No. It's got to stay
Can't turn
there.
it. It's wired into the floor. That's why it's like that.
Good try, though.
What can you do?
Nothing worse should ever happen.
Well, first off, let me just read what it says. It says that the Bergen County Department of Human Services, Division of Senior Services, also is known as the Area Aging for On Aging, or AAA. It will enter into a contract for an area plan with the State of New Jersey Department of Human Services. Requires, and there's a variety of paperwork that goes along with it, and then the purpose of this policy circular is to standardize the content of the provider agent. This is not going to help you much because it gets into a lot of legal mumbo jumbo, but board resolutions across all departments. The policy circular applies, well, let me just see if it gets, policy of board of directors conducting the business of the organization, attest to their actions. Well, this is just the business, but it's providing health services to seniors. I mean, that's about as best I can
Thank you.
give it to you.
Page number 6. I may be misunderstanding the word catalyst on number 1366. What does a catalyst, I happen to be a chemist,
So I take catalyst as a catalyst, right? What does a catalyst have to do with the prosecutor? I have a catalyst in my car.
I think, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I think that's a piece of,
I'm misunderstanding the word probably.
I think it's a piece of computer equipment.
Computer equipment.
It's the name of an equipment.
Computer equipment. Thank you.
Yeah, I asked
I
the
hazard that.
prosecutor today, and that's what he told me.
Title of the equipment.
If it helps you,
Page
it's,
7,
which one?
page 7, number 70, the top one. You have jukeboxes for the prosecutor.
Freeholder Gans, I'm gonna give that one to you.
That is something, it's a device that holds CD discs and DVDs, not with music on them, but with data that the prosecutor uses, and it puts them, allows them to go in and out of the machine.
Thank you. It's not the kind I would use.
No, you don't put a nickel in, and
A nickel.
Page 8, no, I now go to the last page, and I wanted to ask a couple of questions on your ordinance 1227. I will not repeat what the last speaker said, nor what the first speaker said on that topic, because I don't want to waste your time with duplication. But you mentioned that there are 4 other aspects in that ordinance. And I wanted to know what these 4 aspects were.
I was reading right from the ordinance itself.
Yes, and what are these 4 other aspects?
Do we have?
May I, Mr. Chairman?
Please go ahead.
If I may, the items are 1 through 5. The division of the county police department within the Department of Public Safety is hereby dissolved. Number 2, the functions, powers, duties, and responsibilities of the county police are hereby transferred to the sheriff of Bergen County. Number 3, various sections of the administrative code of the county of Bergen which provide for the division of county police department within the Department of Public Safety are hereby deleted. Number 4, the county executive is hereby empowered to take all actions necessary to effectuate this ordinance. And number 5, all prior ordinances, resolution, or administrative code provisions inconsistent with this ordinance are repealed. Would you like my copy of it?
Oh, that would be very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And thank you for the information.
And thank you.
And as I said, this makes a whole lot of difference to the dissolution ordinance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Jennifer Rothschild. I live in Closter, New Jersey. I just wanted to ROTHSCHILD. I'm a member of Bergen Grassroots. We've been following the pay-to-play reform ordinance very closely. I came into it rather late, but I did read it, and I thought that it was extremely balanced and fair. And I would just urge you, as the woman 2 speakers prior, to not rescind it or dismantle it in any way. I think it is something that the taxpayers greatly appreciate. I think that grassroots fundraising is really the way to go. I think people appreciate the comments that are made in the press. All those things can be done for very little money, and I would just simply urge you not to do anything to this ordinance. It was hard. It was a hard-fought battle, and please keep it intact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gentleman in the back there? Or is it a lady? I can't see it. Yes, the lady in the back there. I'm sorry.
How you doing? My name is
Hi.
Debbie McGordy. I'm not from Bergen County. I'm a retired sergeant from the Weehawken Police Department. That's in Hudson County. MC, capital Gorty. I'm here tonight to kind of ask that you pay attention. I don't have anything written down. This is strictly off the top of my head. There's only one person in this room that I know. I was not asked to come here. I felt it was my obligation. October 1st of 1996, the County of Hudson disbanded their police department. 96 very professional men and women lost their job, along with all the crossing guards, all the office personnel. Now, this is going to sound really funny to all of you from Bergen County. Hudson County's budget for the county police at that time was $5 million. The Hudson County Police brought in $5.1 million. So turning over the rest of that money could not have been, they were disbanding them because it was a savings by any means. This was a political move. This was a power struggle. And that's what this is. And it's very sad. I have total respect for the county police, for the sheriffs, and for corrections. I worked in 2 of those 3 departments in Hudson County. Not only was I Hudson County Police's first female officer, but I was the PBA president, the final PBA president. I can't even begin to tell you how much study has to go into this. I understand only from reading in the newspapers, $600,000 was spent on a survey? I'll tell you what, you should have thrown that out. I would have done it for half. Hell, I would have done it for a quarter of the money.
I tried, Chairman.
I mean, really.
By the 600.
You're worried about money,
On the record.
and this money is thrown away on a survey.
Could I just clarify one thing for you?
Sure.
On the $600,000, it was not taxpayer money, it was forfeiture money.
Okay.
From the prosecutor.
From the prosecutor's office.
Wasn't that still a waste of money? Couldn't the prosecutor's office have, because I have also worked with the prosecutor on many, many events in Hudson County. Could that money not have been utilized for other things? Equipment, better equipment for all the law enforcement officers in Bergen County? Just to start.
I voted against it, so.
Okay, well, I don't know who's who here, who's for, who's against. I have no idea and I don't want to know.
Okay.
I'm
Just
only
letting you
here
know.
telling you, think about this. If there's anyone here who's naive enough to think your taxes will go down, you're sadly mistaken. I own property in Hudson County, 2 different towns. You're going to take the county police, boom, you're saving all this money. But you're bringing them here. So there's no real savings there. Compare it to the Turnpike or the Parkway. Everybody here, from what I see, is pretty much been around for a while. At some point, they started charging, no offense to anyone, but, you know, the Turnpike and the Parkway, all of a sudden there was tolls for road repair. How many years does it take to road repair? I mean, really, we're still paying, right, at the tolls? So when does it end? The taxes will not go down. My taxes did not go down in 2 different towns within Hudson County. My taxes not only stayed, I would like to say stayed the same, but they increased. So you're not going to have a reduction in your taxes. Don't let anyone tell you you will, because they're outright lying. I just feel the county police are very specialized. I think they should maintain what they have, maybe even add to it. I know they're specialized in some things, but there's also some things the county police can do that no one else can do. Not the municipalities.
Can I just ask you to wrap up?
Yes, not the municipalities, not the sheriff. That would be your weight team. Your weight team brings in tremendous amount of money if you really work at it. Okay? So with the money that's brought in there, remember, you can't recoup that because the sheriff's office is not able to do it. They've tried in Hudson County. They were shot down by the state police. The municipalities can't do it. Same thing. So I ask you to really give this some honest thought. There's just too much at stake here, and you'll be losing a tremendous asset to Bergen County. As a Hudson County resident, I'm urging you, please do not do this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I'm just holding her problem. I don't even know what it's about.
Good evening. My name is Linda Reich, R-E-I-K. I'm from Ridgewood. I'm going to be speaking about the Tennessee Gas Pipeline Northeast Upgrade Project. Tennessee Gas Pipeline Company is now applying to the NJDEP for dewatering permits for the pipeline in northern New Jersey. There will be at least 5 such applications in a series. The first application submitted to NJDEP is for dewatering in Mahwah. What is a dewatering permit? It's a temporary diversion of natural flow of water to lay pipe. Unfortunately, I cannot tell you the location or the name of the body of water to be dewatered because the application does not specify the location. Maybe you freeholders can ask Tennessee Gas Pipeline those details and find some cooperation, since you sold them the Bergen County parkland for the next 25 years to accommodate the proposed new pipeline. I can tell you that a lot of individuals and organizations are very unhappy with the work already done by Tennessee Gas Pipeline in West Milford, Vernon, way on to State Park and Lake Lookover. Senator Robert Menendez has petitioned FERC to reopen discussion on TGP project. Here are some photos from northern New Jersey. This long shot, this view here, shows extensive deforestation in the preparation for laying pipe. Notice the wetland area in this photo. Right here, you see the speck of blue water. There are 3 such wetlands along this section, and all of them have been compromised and no longer support the lives of insects, birds, and mammals as they had previously. After installing the 300 loop, TGP left, and that was 16 months ago. TGP reported to FERC that they had remediated the area as per their plan. I encourage you to go on a field trip and look at the work area. Here's a photo of taken just a few months ago of roughly the same view as in the long shot before the pipeline went in. Up in Lake Lookover, you'll see that, I encourage you to take a field trip and step inside the forest. Don't just look from the road. The road is where TGP has planted larger trees, like in Lake Lookover, where they're on their 2nd round of planting because the residents demanded it. And the roadside in Highland Lakes and Vernon, there are larger trees. Inside the forest, virtually nothing planted was large enough to survive deer eating and the weather. Extensive use of a pine species not even native to northern New Jersey was used. It's a southern New Jersey species. And maybe that's another reason small trees have not survived. So you can see in this photo, the actual pipeline region will never be replanted because you can't have trees on top of a pipeline. But the side areas should be showing some growth now after 16 months. Now there is an ooze coming from the surface of the pipeline. That's in this photo. Here's a photo of the ooze being picked up on a stick. It has an oily look and smell. Tennessee Gas placed flock logs in this area. Flock is spelled F-L-O-C. These are akin to sponges which absorb total suspended solids. Petroleum hydrocarbons and toluene are classified by the EPA as total suspended solids. Do you know that the gas and oil companies have been exempt since 2005 from the regulations of the Safe Drinking Water Act, the Clean Air Act, and the Clean Water Act? How much incentive does a company like TGP have to follow its remediation plan and properly clean up its work? Not much.
Can I ask you, Annette, I'm sorry, I was looking for the right moment just to jump in. Can you get to, is there a request that you want to make to the freeholders or question?
Yes.
Thank you.
I ask you to rethink your invitation to Tennessee Gas to bring this pipeline into Mahwah. There will be permanent forest defragmentation. The pipeline right-of-way can never be retreed. TGP plans to blast 3/4 of a mile in Bergen County because the bedrock is shallow. How well would remediation be performed? Imagine what an explosion at a larger pipe and metering station in Mahwah would cause. Using Tennessee Gas's explosion in December 2011 in Mississippi as a guide, residents for 2 miles would be evacuated, highways 202, 287, the New York State Thruway, and Route 17 would be closed. Fire departments would wait on standby to protect structures while that section of the pipe burned itself out. I hope Senator Menendez convinces FERC to have new hearings. He said that constituents feel they were not provided adequate opportunity to express their concerns. You may recall that several hundred residents in Bergen County showed up in October of 2011 to help plan for the future of Ramapo Reservation. But no mention of a new pipeline project was made during that session in October 2011. I'd like also to note that the Bergen County report on the Tennessee Gas proposal, dated 2011, contains an environmental impact section. However, it was entirely the work of Tennessee Gas Pipeline. No other organization's evaluation is included. Tennessee Gas has not done good workmanship and has a proven record of destruction, and we should not be giving them permission to cause similar disaster in Bergen County. This is the time for Bergen County to use the attendance list gathered in October of 2011 at the meeting about the future of the Ramapo Reservation and notify several hundred northern New Jersey residents that they must come out, be involved, and be watchful of Tennessee Gas pipeline activities. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
This lady right here in the third or fourth row, yes, you, please.
Good evening, Chairman Mitchell. My name is Rhonda Wilson. I'm from Hackensack, New Jersey. I work at the Bergen County Board of Social Services, and I am president of CWA Local 1089. I'm coming to ask you, as a person of the Board of Social Services and my chair of the Board of Social Services, to work with my acting director to provide the employees at the board with safety training. We haven't had it in several years, and I've asked my acting director to have the county police come in or the sheriff's department come in and train our new employees on how to be safe in their work environment. And to no array have I gotten an answer from him. And today I was down at Adult Protective Service training at Rutgers, and it was imperative because my coworker who was there with me, she is very afraid of what can happen to her when she goes out in the field to see people. So I'm reaching out to you, and hopefully my sheriff's department and my county police to come to my office and provide us with that training. You did it several years ago. It was excellent. We know how to make ourselves safe. I can take down a person, but my coworker who hasn't been I'm just like saying, I've had training, but my coworkers do need to know that. So if you can, please stress that to my director.
If I can,
Please,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. Rhonda, what I would ask you to do is write a letter to Robert Calacino, Acting Director, and copy me, and I will certainly follow up. And have you?
I have had several labor management meetings. This is how we work things out. I have another one scheduled on October 16th.
Okay.
Mr. Calacino, follow-up skills
Let's not go
are
into that.
different than
What
mine,
I would
but
like
I
you to
will
do-
definitely put that in writing to you all so that you can have that, because you know what? We are
You're asking for a
citizens.
solution, and I'm going to
We are
offer
citizens
one.
of Bergen County.
Okay.
I am a taxpayer.
I get.
I live in Hackensack. I own a condo. My
Can you
uncle
just-
is always on my,
gonna
why am
give-
I paying that type of tax
I'm gonna
for
give you a
an
solution.
apartment?
Write
Okay.
Mr. Calacino a letter, copy me, and at the next board meeting, it will be discussed. We do have a subcommittee regarding safety and so forth.
And
That
can
would be-
I ask my county sheriffs and my county police officers, do they
I don't-
mind providing us with some training?
Well, certainly what has been done.
They never did before. Thank you all.
Thank you
Would
very
you
much.
like to do a
demonstration? You can take down Driscoll. Gee, thanks. Why do I get thrown under the bus? I was nice to you tonight.
Okay. Mr. Mr. Chairman, if I could just...
Write it down.
Yeah, please.
All
go
right,
ahead.
because I would have liked to have had the opportunity to speak to Rhonda as she was up speaking, is that certainly this will be followed up. Rhonda, if you can, please reiterate when that training took place in the past, and we're going to follow up and certainly at the next meeting. Okay, well, okay.
right.
If you're not going to, with all due respect, Rhonda, you're asking for a solution. I'm trying to speak with you, and you're then being flippant about it. So I will take this as a responsibility, as an action item. My aide will also follow up, and this will be a point that will be discussed at the next meeting. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for your
Thank you.
time.
The next speaker, please.
Thank you, Edward Durfee. D as in David, UR, F as in Frank, 2 E's, Northvale.
Ed.
Evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to say, I don't know what I'd like to say. I mean, I attended that work session this afternoon, and it was quite enlightening. I'd just like to say, though, as I've stated before as a Marine, that when I got my basic training, just because I was with the Tank Battalion or just because I was with a Grunt Battalion, I was still a Marine. And, I heard some things today about, county police being police and sheriffs not being police, and I just felt it was important that the people hear that as well, because I don't know that there's any difference. It might seem like a sheriff doesn't have as important a job to a county police officer, or that a county police officer doesn't have as important a job to a sheriff. But to me, regardless of what platoon I was in or what company I was in, when I stood with a Marine, I knew he was a Marine. And I'm sure that our brothers that are trained police officers feel the same way. So I wouldn't want to see the board get swayed by that. Also, I'd like to thank the chairman for pushing the pencil on this one and getting this brought to a head so that at least we can move forward, because I've been hearing this for some time down here, and I don't feel like it's done, that we're going forward. We are making progress, but the only thing forward we got is at least we have an ordinance on the table, and hopefully we can have a decision, and then we can do what has to be done to start saving some money for us taxpayers. And regarding this pay-to-play, the new ordinance on the pay-to-play, I do find that, I was swayed into believing that what we passed here a couple months back was a good bill, until I found that it was hard for me to give donations to any of the people that I wish to support. Not that I'm a wealthy man or something, but it became cumbersome, and I started reading up about it, and I found out throughout the country that other organizations or other governmental agencies that went with the pay-to-play modeled it after the federal ELEC laws, and I was glad to see that that's the course that Bergen County is looking to take, because it seems that as a past state contractor, not that I still contract, but as a state contractor at one time, I sure would hate to find myself not able to fulfill my contract to the state because I had flipped $500 to somebody that was running. So it just seemed like it was very, very far-reaching. So
Mr. Durfee,
thank you very much.
for that.
Thanks, Ed.
Maria?
Hi, I'm Maria Aberasturi, Aberasturi, 493 Linden Avenue, Teaneck, New Jersey. I wanted to comment on this revision to pay-to-play. I was here for first reading. I left speechless, which is odd for me. I'm extremely disappointed by this. I sat here from some point in 2011 to the end of last year. I come to most of these meetings. Someone could have given birth quicker than it took to get that original pay-to-play through. And month after month after month, the people of Bergen County were told to be patient because this was being looked at by an attorney, and that we wanted to make sure that whatever it was that was finally voted on would withstand anything in court. To my knowledge, this has not been taken to court. To my knowledge, you have the same attorney. I don't know what changed. Well, actually, I do know what changed. I know what changed is that less money is coming into campaigns. Personally, I think it is obscene, the amount of money that is raised running campaigns. I think that it is obscene because it prevents regular folks from running unless they agree to participate in a party. I don't think that government should be run by parties. I think government should be run by people. I don't think that the amounts are small. And it's being done at a time where the perception is that it's politically motivated. Whether that's true or it's not true, you know, my grandfather told me perception is 99% of everything. The other thing is that all of this that goes on costs me money. It costs me money. None of this is free. These meetings aren't free. The attorney is not free. The ordinances aren't free. And that this was done less than a year ago. And now, and after months and months and months of it being looked at by attorneys and they said that it was okay. And here we are less than a year later and we're looking to undo it. And the only objective reason why we're looking to undo it is because parties are collecting less money, is costing me money, annoys me to no end. I started coming to these meetings in 2010. I had great hope that things were going to be different. Initially, it appeared that things were going to be different, and then outside things started, I think, interfering the way that this is done. So I would ask you as leaders to step back from the political whatever, take a look at what the goals are for the people of Bergen County, focus on those goals and move forward. And vote against this change to pay to play.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Freeholder Chairman and Honorable Board. I'm former Councilwoman Carol Skiba from Hasbrook Heights, SKIBA. How are you all this evening?
Doing fine, thank you. Doing well.
I'm coming here this evening because I've read a lot of articles in the Record, and as a taxpayer, after having attended so many meetings with regard to an ordinance based off of Citizens Campaign Ordinance, I feel somewhat flim-flammed to now have a new ordinance at election time when you all want to raise money and repeal a very good ordinance that you put in place is really disturbing to me. I really feel you aren't raising money because, for example, in Hasbrook Heights, there's 256 families using food stamps and coming to our food bank regularly. It has absolutely nothing to do with the ordinance. There are more foreclosures in Bergen County, more people without jobs, more people who can't find jobs. And I think your reasoning behind repealing this is not taking into account people can't afford to give you money. They have to eat when they can. I'm a former Democratic councilwoman because I found that my Democratic Party put raising money above all else in Bergen County and was very far afield from what Democratic values are. And I really ask you to put aside this need to raise funds. If people feel you have integrity and they like what you say as their elected representative, they're going to give you contributions. And they don't have to come from potential contractors or people subsequently seeking contracts with the county. They'll come from individuals because they'll like what you stand for and what you represent and what you say. So I urge you not to vote for this ordinance tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Gentleman right here.
Good evening. I appear in behalf of
you state your
Bergen
name,
Grassroots. Yes, Paul Eisenman. I live in Cliffside Park. I'm chair of Bergen Grassroots. We didn't think it was going to happen this soon. But I guess it's so good that it's really hurting. I guess that's why it has to be changed. It's so good, it's really hurting. I just want to deliver a message from Citizens Campaign. I got a call this evening from Lauren Skowronski. Our friend Heather Taylor was busy elsewhere, and Lauren was on her way up here. Does everybody know the turnpike was closed today? She turned around, and she's not going to be able to be here, I think, but I think you all know what she wanted to tell you. I just asked John Estlin what was the result of his pay-to-play survey, and the numbers was 71-7 in favor of me. Thank you. I want to talk to the 4 people who came to Bergen Grassroots meetings in the last 2 years and pledged to bring pay-to-play reform to Bergen County. I want to, it's easy to thank Freeholder Hermanson and Freeholder DiNicola for sticking to their guns. We're proud of you. And I want to say I'm aware of Freeholder Driscoll has explained that he feels it would be a conflict of interest for him to vote on this because he's not seeking election with the intention of running for state senate next year.
Chairman,
and
please, Mr. Eisenman, I'm going to clear it up right now for you. A, I'm still waiting for my thank you from last year. You said you were going to thank everyone on the board for passing pay-to-play, but you went out to talk to the press. That's okay. Secondly, sorry I had to get it in there. Been waiting for the thank you for almost a year. I am a declared state senate candidate in District 38.
That's what I just said.
And I have an no, you said potentially. I am declared.
Potential?
Mr. Eisenman, you spoke, I spoke. Okay? Mr. Eisenman, you know what? It's not even, you know what? I'm not even going to go any further. It's a lot easier.
May I continue?
I'm recusing myself on the matter anyway, so I
Eisenman, if you have a question, please.
Ain't worth it.
I don't. I was following a narrative. I understood that Freeholder Driscoll felt that it was unconstitutional, and I wanted to say, if he voted for it, if he voted yes, it would be unconstitutional because then he would be feathering his own nest. This particular change will make it easier for state senate candidates and others at municipal levels and other levels to raise money. But I do want to make this point. If he voted no, that wouldn't be a conflict of interest. It would be an expression of his willingness to continue to support pay-to-play reform in Bergen County. He would be hurting himself. But that's not against the law. There's no reason you can't vote to hurt yourself. So I just want to make that point.
Chairman, once again, can I clarify this, please?
Certainly,
Mr. Eisenman, are you an attorney? No, you're not.
No, I look like
Thank
one.
you.
You told me that.
I know, I confused you at the time with attorney.
Yeah.
So when you start saying unconstitutional, really, you're not on the right vein. I've made it clear. I'm a declared state senate candidate. If this goes down, yes, I will be able to raise money, just like Senator Sarlo, just like Senator Cody, just like Senator O'Toole, just like everybody in this state, and all the local municipalities.
Right.
So, I have talked to an attorney outside of this. I have not spoken to Mr. Malagiri. I've spoken to my own attorney, who has said to recuse myself from the matter because there is a state statute on the book saying that I cannot vote on it. So there's a state statute because I have an active campaign account open at the state level. So that's why I can't do it. So I'm not going to discuss it anymore. I'm recusing myself from the matter.
Okay, to continue, I have not
Could
had...
you
any-
wrap
Still
it
don't
up,
wanna hear it.
Mr. Eisenman, please? I'd like to get moving here, please. Thank you.
Certainly, I
Thank you.
want to come to the fourth member, Mr. Mitchell, which is you. We had, when the campaign first started, somebody else was nominated for the freeholder's position. He became ill. During the brief time that he was a candidate, he was not in favor of pay-to-play reform. Then he had to withdraw, he bowed out. Your name was put into...
Can we get to a
I
point?
just want to say, I would like to know why you changed your mind. We very much, we knew how you felt. You came to our meeting, you spoke with passion. I had personal conversations with you. This is not win or lose on this ordinance because we'll be back. If it passes, we have no choice but to be back. But I can't understand why we lost your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, in regards to Mr. Eisenman's public statements, I think this gentleman owes this chairman an apology because during the pay-to-play vote, there was very cruel discussions regarding a personal loss of Mr. Mitchell, one of his family members. And we may agree to disagree, and there's been some very passionate discussions in regards to whether it's the police, the dissolving of the police department, or pay-to-play, or whatever that may be. But this venue has no room for personal and terrible verbal attacks. And I just want to say it hurt me terribly to have my colleague and dear friend attacked on the dais by you, sir. You weren't there? Where there was someone else that was here?
No, he was not here while it was going on.
All right.
It was Chairman. It was under Chairman Driscoll.
It was under me. Chairman Mitchell had a loss in his
Yes.
family, and he was not even here, and he was being attacked.
Right. Exactly. So Chairman Driscoll was here, but nevertheless, my colleague at the time, freeholder Mitchell, now chairman, was viciously attacked. And I tell you something, it was really inappropriate. We may agree to disagree, and you know my position regarding this issue, but never should it get personal. And there should be an apology made. You shake your head, sir, but guess what? There's no room for that in this chambers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Please, sir,
I'm
state
not
your name
attacking
and...
or running for senator.
State your
My
name.
name is Walter Tompkins Jr. from Hackensack.
Thank you.
I just wanted to give you K-I-N. To give you a little insight. I started out in emergency services in South Hackensack Police Department. After about 9 years, I went to the City of Hackensack Fire Department, from which I just retired after 27 years. I've volunteered as an EMT for many years. I've been around a lot of emergencies, a lot of problems. But what I'm getting at is, no matter what department I had been with, the county police were always there. Whether a county property, they're willing to help, whether or not. They were always there for us. They were that extra guy that the town or the city couldn't get to take away. And it was good that the county had them there to help us. When we went to the jail annex or the courthouse on calls, medical, fire, whatever, sheriffs, they got it, they know what they need to do, and they take care of it very well. Each department has their own entity. They're very unique, their training, and I've seen a lot of it, I know a couple of them in each department, and they're great people. They're very dedicated, and these small towns, and we have plenty of them in Bergen County, having that county cop there is a nice little relief, help out, And I think that it would be a very sad mistake to do away with anybody. We're very lucky in this county to have the departments that we do have, and we really shouldn't get rid of any of them, because I think a lot of other counties are very envious of Bergen. I'm very proud of what they do.
Thank you very
You know,
much.
and I just wanted to give you my insight from.
Appreciate that, sir.
Thank you
so
for your
much.
time.
Thank you.
Hi, Lorraine Bogert, G-E-R-T. Okay. Freeholder Gantz, it's disappointing that you've initiated the process to gut an effective pay-to-play reform ordinance that the public needs and supports. I'm going to appeal to you to let the Supreme Court of New Jersey do its job. You did a good thing when you cast a reluctant vote and joined your a reluctant pro vote and joined your colleagues in voting into law the Pay-to-Play Reform Ordinance 1111. It was long overdue and was enacted as a bipartisan accomplishment. The ordinance has been praised for its effectiveness and contribution to good governance. Excuse me, I'm reading. Okay. Okay. If it is unconstitutional, the public has a right to know, but we should hear that from our state Supreme Court. Our state court is not a superfluous organ of government. In this case, it is important for the freeholders, for the court itself, and most especially for the public that you allow the court to deliver clarity and give the only opinion that matters on whether the pay-to-play reform ordinance that was passed here last year is constitutional. None of you are appointed officials. We are happy to have every one of you consider yourselves to be public servants. But the system falls apart if you are not also politicians. It is a fact and a necessity that your political interests are not, and the interests of the public are not always aligned. The public has worked very hard for a fair policy here. Those of us who have participated don't want to be back in this room unnecessarily going around in circles, rehashing pay-to-play reform for a second 10-year period. Let's first see who steps out into open court to say they are aggrieved by this reform. You've done your job. As far as the public is concerned, you've done an admirable job. Let the Supreme Court do its job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Sir? How you doing, Ken?
Good evening. How's everyone? Steve Sullivan, Paramus, New Jersey. Obviously, there's going to be a vote this evening, and I guess let's just go a little. I was fortunate enough to attend the meeting in Paramus with reference to the county police, and at the time, I had asked you, Chairman Mitchell, if there was a plan. From what I understand and what I heard a little earlier with someone, that there is finally a plan now. Is that true, or there is still no plan?
I wouldn't classify it as a plan. The sheriff brought forth some
ideas,
some ideas and documentation to, I guess, as a basis for a plan. Let's put it that way.
Okay. We spent $600,000 for a study. So what did that study accomplish? Let me ask you something. After $600,000 and there's still no plan being presented to you people as board members, I, as a voting taxpayer, whatever you want to call it, have a big problem where you're voting on something, okay, just hang on, that you're voting on something that you don't have a plan. I know that in the ordinance is to hand it over to the executive, Kathy Donovan.
That's correct.
Now, my question is this. When it's handed over to her, does she have the final say of how that department will run? Or her suggestions with reference to, say, promotions? You have a sheriff, Sheriff Sordino, who has undersheriffs. Some were retired police officers that are now getting salary also their pension? Or is the promotion process now going to be from within? So all these things affect people's life. One, it affects the morale of the department. Are we hiring from in, or are we going to let the sheriff run? Who makes those decisions? Who makes those choices? Does it come back here before the board, okay? Which then we get back to, you should know the plan if it does. And that's my problem here. Whether you're going to vote the way you're going to want to vote, okay? But as a taxpayer, I have a big problem, and just so you know, I am a former police officer in Paramus, okay? I have a problem with not having a plan. You're going to take this and throw it on Kathy Donovan, okay? And I want to know, does she have to come back here after she writes up the rules and regulations for the department, one department, to get your approval as a board?
I would presume as they go forward.
Maybe our council might be able to shed light on that.
Council?
The implementation would be for Kathy Donovan, if it was acted on favorably, to wind down the Bergen County Police Department, and the sheriff to implement a plan, hopefully in coordination with the county executive, to operate the sheriff's department, to take on the new functions which are moved into the sheriff's department based upon the ordinance.
Okay, but the ordinance just says to turn it over to Kathy Donovan, so who has the say?
Kathy Donovan has to wind down the operations of
Okay, has to wind down and fold it into
and take whatever other steps are necessary to implement the ordinance.
Okay, so basically she will draw the ordinance as to what the chain of command is and all that other stuff in it.
I don't know.
So that's why I'm saying, you don't know.
But
even your counsel doesn't know. So how are you voting on something where your counsel, your legal counsel for your board doesn't know?
This body is designed.
I understand fully, but if your counsel can't shed light on how this thing is supposed to go.
I'm sorry, sir. Under the Optional County Charter Act, the Board of Freeholders does not have jurisdiction. We can't legally dictate a plan in the implementation of one.
Okay, so then, in other words, what Kathy Donovan and Sheriff Sordino work out, that does not have to be approved by any members of this board, is what you're saying?
There could be aspects of it that do.
You just said no.
Sir, you're talking in generalities. We'd have to see the specifics, but the implementation.
No, I'm talking that there is a possibility.
The implementation is
there is a possibility.
The implementation is the implementation is the executives and the sheriffs.
Through the chair.
Please, Freeholder.
I think what you just said basically is something that I've been saying for 4 months, and I'm going to continue to say. I think what we're asked to vote on tonight is not even specific. It's telling you that there is nothing specific about what we're voting on. It is a concept, it's an idea, and there is nothing that is a straight, this is what we're going to do. Which means, to me, this makes no sense of going through to vote for something that is that's not specific enough to get this through.
When we met in that Paramus meeting,
all right, could you wrap up, please?
I can wrap up. I guess my big thing is that there's no plan. Okay,
Correct.
You've admitted that to yourself, to the public in the meeting when I asked you directly, and I just find it all comes down to dollars and cents. If there's no plan and you're saying you're going to say $17 million or whatever, $10 million or $20 million, well, without a plan, how do you know you're going to save that kind of money as a taxpayer? And that's what I'm concerned about.
All right, thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Lisa Gladwell from River Edge, New Jersey. Gladwell. I'm here as a member of the Board of Vantage Health and representing the full board, our employees, as well as the clients that we serve. And I just wanted to say, on behalf of all of us, thank you. Thank you for maintaining our funding. Things are tough right now, and we're doing everything we can to service as many people as we can in Bergen County, improving the quality of their life, and you guys are a big part of it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Lisa.
Something you don't know to hear.
Did she speak twice?
Exactly. That's what I said.
Thank you.
Something you don't know to hear.
Come up again.
There's one more back there, John.
Yes, sir, Jimmy. I got it.
Another one set back there.
Good to see you up and around, Jerry. How you feeling?
Good, fine.
Good.
A little tired right now.
I know, I hear you.
Jerry Drummond, President of Local 755, United Service Workers Union. Here to just mention a few things I'm concerned about, with this ordinance to dissolve the county police. First thing is, there's a lot of union members there, PBA members. And actually, my union, Local 755, has the staff within the county police office. Our blue collar, Local 655, has the guards in this building, the security in this building, and also the radio dispatches up in Mawa. So we're very concerned, about this. What I see here is in the second whereas in the resolution, whereas it is the intention and the desire of the County of Bergen, to establish a consolidated unit and so on. I didn't see that this afternoon. The county executive is someone who's elected by the people of the county, and she's standing right there with Chairman, sitting right next to Chairman Mitchell and saying, "You move this, I'm going to go against it." So to me, because I take it that the county executive was elected by the people, whether everybody voted for her or not, she got the majority, she's elected, and that's the system we have in this country. I'm concerned about, let's say, I don't want to say constitutionality, but it looks to me like we're going to end up with more time for lawyers, making some more money. We're going to end up with a lot of arguing, and certainly they got to pick out something like that. How can this resolution say it's desire of the County of Bergen? Just on that level alone. Also, I think what was clear this afternoon, I was impressed. There was some, let's say, Inspector Bradley, I think, gave, a presentation. That's the first time I saw anything about, what are we talking about here? After all of this, now something was sort of set up. That still, obviously, it raises questions, but fine. But it was expressed clearly. But the day of the final reading, when you're going to pass an ordinance, which becomes a law, I think the people, the County of Bergen, really need more time to look at this thing. I would like to see, let's say, if an ordinance is passed, or deal with consolidation, or whatever you want to call it, that actually the people who are going to have to implement it are really comfortable with it. And the unions involved have a role and have been, part of the deliberations in some way. And the system we have, the county executive is elected, and I think it's pretty clear that a lot of it's her call. The budget that is ultimately passed, and of course, as you know, we have problems with maybe how tight Kathy can be with budgets and everything like that, but I think it's pretty clear in law that she's got the final call here. And the sheriff and the county police, even though the sheriff is a constitutional elected officer, his budget comes under her. And good for the union for fighting it, because we would do the same thing. But I don't see how this.
Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah. So what I would hope is that this board would step back now, relook at this situation, and try to bring what I would call the main players into view, the problems you're trying to address, and have them all, partake of this discussion. And so when you move forward, you have everybody, the leaders anyway, together on this. You don't have, the leadership is not together on this.
Well, thank you for that, Jerry. Good. All right, anybody else?
Thanks, Jerry.
Gentleman in the back. Check on Kim. Yeah. Kim, how you doing? All right, after this gentleman, we're going to take a break.
Well, you're expecting me to be that harsh.
No, it's just that she needs a break.
Good evening. My name is Howie Seiden. I'm from Tenafly, New Jersey. S is in Sam, E is in Edward, I is in Ida, D as in David, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy. Just a couple, I heard the lady who was a Hudson County police officer before. It reminds me a couple of months ago as I was on the way home from work, coming up Kennedy Boulevard in North Bergen, and I broke down in the lane of travel. And I called North Bergen PD, and it took them about 35 minutes to get there. I almost got killed a couple of times. And they had told me that Kennedy Boulevard used to be patrolled by the Hudson County Police. And since they're not there anymore, it falls upon the municipal departments who had to pick up the slack. So when you dissolve your county police, you're asking these local towns to pick up the slack. These towns that are shorthanded have their own financial woes. You're also saying that, well, maybe you'll have the sheriff's officers do some of the duties. I see there's some sheriff's officers in attendance today. Sheriff's officers that are here, how many accidents have you investigated?
Sir, you have to address your comments to the board.
To the chair, please.
You get reports from the sheriff's board. How many accidents have they investigated?
I don't get those kind of reports from the sheriff.
They don't break down their duties?
They don't submit reports like that
Okay.
to the freeholder board.
Have we investigated that to see if they're going to assume these duties, that they know how to do this function, that they have experience? Do you want an amateur showing up at your show?
Of course not. But do you have a point to make tonight, sir?
Yes, yes. That to dissolve the county police is a tremendous mistake. And at the public hearings you had in Teaneck and Paramus, I brought up in Teaneck, I asked you to explore Westchester County Department of Law and Public Safety. Did anyone here do that? Did anyone do it?
I'll answer for myself. I have not, other than following the newspaper.
Okay, so when we had the public hearings, and it was a listening tour, you came out to listen to what the public had to say.
Sir, do you have a question or?
I'm getting to it.
Thank you, please.
You asked the public to speak and you were going to listen, and we brought ideas. Did you investigate these ideas? What was the use of the public hearings? Was it a whitewash?
Do you have another question?
Well, that was an important question I'd like answered. Please answer it.
Of course, every statement made by any citizen is taken very seriously by every member of the freeholder.
Okay, which member of the freeholder investigated that? Did any of you?
To the chair, from the chair, I'm saying, I have not, I don't know about the other freeholders, I doubt it.
So in other words, all the comments that we made at these hearings were for a waste of time.
That's not the case.
So you're saying, what you're telling me is that this was
please
all...
Sorry, don't put words in my mouth. I already told you, we take any of the comments from the public very seriously. So don't say it was a waste of time.
All right, so my next comment to you. Who's going to handle truck enforcement in the county?
Please,
I'm asking you an important question.
If you allow me to answer, I'll tell you.
Please do.
The ordinance that the freeholders are contemplating tonight contemplates that if it's passed and goes forward, that there would be a collaborative effort between that of the county executive and the sheriff's department for implementation. I am sure that they will cover all of these issues in terms of safety, trucking, what have you.
Well, I think we need to address these issues beforehand because state statute says that sheriff's departments cannot enforce those laws. So how are you going to change something?
I'm relying on the county executive and the sheriff when they get into there, and that they will evaluate any of the legal obstacles, and I'm sure they'll come up with, they're very smart people, I'm sure they're going to come up with solutions to address these concerns.
Well, you know what? Apparently they must be smarter than the board because the board didn't bother to listen to what people are saying.
Well, sir, I'm going to cut you off at that point, please.
I thought you weren't cutting anybody off tonight. All of a sudden the rules change, right?
I'm cutting you off.
The rules change because you were quiet.
You're being discourteous.
Okay, and you're being discourteous that you don't listen to the public.
You're out of order.
Chairman,
All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and finish the question. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we were still in the Q&A. Any further show of hands? Who else has a question? Comment, please.
John LaDuca, Franklin Lakes. LADUCA. Okay. We've had 2 public meetings. We've had listening tours. We have no plan. Let's take a vote on it tonight and let's end this thing. The county police, you got them by a string here. What are you doing? Hanging them out to dry? Let's take a vote. Let's get it done. Although you have no plan, we'll do that.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Sir?
My name is Irving Kuznetso, IRVING, Kuznetso, KUZNETZOW. I'm from Harrington Park. Do you need the address?
No, just spell your last name again.
KUZNETZOW.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, sir, could you put the microphone closer to you? Thank you. Perfect.
Is that
Thank-
better?
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, I've never been involved in county politics, local politics, or affairs, but the issue of the pay-to-play legislation sort of made me feel compelled to come out here. I read the existing ordinance, I read the new ordinance, and I can't help but conclude it's a step down in the protection that it affords the county, your constituency, against the potential for undue influence all the way up through graft or corruption. I mean, each and every one of you, I'm sure, thinks of yourself as someone who is here to serve your constituency in their best interests. And I think part of that is trying to put ordinances into effect that do that protect their interests. I think to withdraw the protections that the existing ordinance provides is to put politics ahead of what you're charged with, to perform for your constituency. I would hope that you'll take the higher road, that you'll put the public interest ahead of your political interests and take care of the people's business. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sir? Yes, in the back there.
Lonnie Bedell, 51 Grove Street, South Hackensack. Good evening, Chairman and freeholders.
Good evening, Lonnie.
Good evening, Ron.
As you know, I've been coming to the meetings for quite a few years, and I support the freeholders, county executive. These are comments, I guess I'm allowed comments instead of questions. First of all, I want to commend the Bergen County Police Department, PVA Local 41, for the one-page article, and it's informative. I want to say this about the county police. I've been involved in Bergen County, living in Bergen County for about 26 years. And you go down the street or a highway, road, whatever, and you see, and then you all know I support my local police department. You see a Bergen County cop, all right? And I'll tell you what, you stand there, you get it at attention, because they are tough, and they are good, and they are professional. And what's happening with this whole process getting thrown together, it's upsetting, really. And because I support yous all, although I don't agree with yous all the time, I'm disappointed. On another hand, I'm going to compliment former Chairman Driscoll, freeholder,
What I do now?
and freeholder Hermanson on opening the door, and I supported all the Democrats. I went to everything they had.
Yeah, we didn't
Okay.
see you at any of our events, Lonnie.
Okay, all right. But you guys came out and you changed the arena. And let me just say this to you. You could disagree with me, but they opened the door for the Republicans, all right? And it saddens me to see what's really happened with the county executive, with the sheriff's department, the county police, and I got news for you. If you just don't watch, the Democrats are gonna be in power again. Mark my words, because there's more Democrats than Republicans, the way I understand from everything. The other thing, and I'll make it real fast, to pay to play, I was here for a lot of meetings. I went to some of the other meetings that you chaired, Freeholder Hermanson, and you know, we're just like pushing things through, and it's, you know, I'm gonna tell you, I'm a citizen, I'm not a politician, but I go to freeholder meetings, I go to Meadowland meetings, township meetings, I go to every meetings there are, Board of Education meetings, right? And I'm gonna tell you, I'm the public, and what I'm seeing, I'm embarrassed, and I hope you come together, and these two ordinances should be set aside. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else have any comments? Right here, yes, thank you.
Hello. Hello. Okay, I have to speak into this?
Yeah. You gotta give us your name and your town, please.
Oleg. OLEG. Then I need to give you my last name. KIRIOUKHINE.
What town, sir?
Cliffside Park. Okay. I have a few questions for this board. Does this county system of government have a trained law enforcement division or agency to look out and remove corrupt individuals from our local governments and from the county system of government? So people like you, is there a law enforcement agency to look out for if there is an opportunity for either of you to take in bribes or extort people? Is there something like that in the county level?
Can you, I'm not sure what you're
Sounds, if I may,
Is there a,
it sounds like a prosecutorial
Yes,
function.
it's
The
like
chief
there's the FBI who
If I
comes
could
in
just
once a
share
while.
with you, the chief law enforcement officer in every county is the prosecutor. In this county, that's John Molinelli. And I believe the response to your question is that the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office is that entity through its instrumentalities in the county and the municipalities.
Okay. They don't seem to be very successful in regards to the FBI efforts.
I'm sorry?
They don't seem to be as successful as the efforts that the FBI, just my own opinion, if something could be done in that aspect.
I think they do.
All right, so in regards to this pay-to-play, so basically, from what I understand, it limits the contractors from, or people who bid on government contracts from funneling tremendous amounts of money into the system, into the political campaign system, right?
It provides a mechanism for people who receive professional contracts who do not bid for them to have to disclose what they've donated, and if you've donated too much, you can't be awarded a no-bid contract. It's only for professionals. It's not for people who bid and receive contracts pursuant to the local public bidding laws.
Also, it's the people who just get all these automatic contracts. And
They're not automatic. There's an exception under the local public bidding laws for professional services, and this pay-to-play, the one that's currently in existence and the one that's on tonight, is just aimed at governing these individuals.
Okay. So, if I might say, if something like this is repealed, so it's theoretically possible without this pay-to-play policy, one single individual can find, there's 10 of you.
Seven
of you?
elected. Seven
So
freeholders.
one single individual can find 7 people, random people, funnel tremendous amounts of money to them, have them elected, and get these automatic, not automatic, but these no-bid professional service contracts, which are, I assume, quite complex. They're not just simply planting a tree.
Chairman? Yes. I have to say, I've been up on this board for 3 years. In the past 2 years, there have been I'd say the majority of our work has been bid work. And I'm very proud that the administration, please, Mrs. Barata passed it on to the county executive, that most of our construction work has been done with bid work, not professional services work.
What's that?
Okay. I have another concern is that the minimum age to be on this board is 18 years of age, to be 18 years of old.
I just made it.
Huh? I'm just a little.
Your hair was 18.
I'm just concerned why there isn't more younger.
Sorry,
I was
apologize.
just going to ask you, could you get to I know you have a series of questions, but I'd just like to see if there's anybody else has questions too. All right? No, finish.
Oh, okay. Okay, so that's my question. How come it's, I see that there's two young girls sitting behind you and there's a guy. They could technically be sitting here because they meet the age requirement, but they work for you.
That's correct.
So why isn't it,
We run for office and we're elected by the people. That's why. And these are our freeholder aides that do the bulk of, they do a lot of our work. They're our backbone. And that's why they're here with us. Mine's not here, she's on maternity leave. But we're elected by the people. We choose to run and we've been successful. As other people in the past, all up on that wall up there.
If I may, just one question, then I have a more serious question. Do you share your wealth of wisdom to them so they could potentially be sitting here?
Sir, I do the other way. I listen to my freeholder aide an awful lot. She gives me a lot of ideas, and I share with her also, yes.
Maybe I just ask, I just want to move the process along.
Okay.
You say you had an important point to make?
Yes, one more question.
Please do.
What is going to happen to the functions that the county police provide? Are they no longer needed? Because from what I understand, I was a criminal justice student at one point. I saw some of the facilities they have, and they do certain functions within the county. And I think somebody brought it up, the point, and you answered the question that you're going to just kind of plan for the executives of the sheriffs and the county police to kind of figure it out.
That's correct.
Is that really like the plan?
That is essentially what the ordinance calls for.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I think that's
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else? Sir?
Yes, my name is Arthur Higgins. I live in Jefferson, but I have some properties in Teterboro, not related to police chief at all.
Welcome, Mr. Higgins.
Teterboro elected to, the mayor and council elected to have the Bergen County Police police our municipality. And I just want to thank them because they're absolutely professional. All the women in my houses feel comfortable. This is tough, sorry. I'm not used to this. Anyway, they do an outstanding job, and I'd hate to lose them. I have a question. How much time between everyone here have you sat down and really analyzed what they provide for us in Bergen County? Have you sat down with the chief or anyone?
I can answer. I can tell you that as the chair of Law and Public Safety, I've sat down numerous times in the last 2 years with the two different chiefs, as the two different chiefs at the time, Chief Malakis and then Chief Higgins. I've also sat down with the sheriff. I've sat down with the prosecutor. We've sat down and had meetings with all of them at one point in the same meeting. I've sat down with the heads of the Chiefs Association here in Bergen County of what it was how it was going to impact Bergen County and how it was going to impact the towns immediately, those local towns, based on that. A lot of the information I was getting, I was bringing back, and we had tried to disseminate to the board, and then this happened.
Okay, so who contrived, in other words, how did this ordinance come about?
I think you need to talk.
I just wanted to say this. I was on the planning board in Teterboro. I was lucky to be on a planning board. I know a planning board isn't the responsibility of a council, but we always had plans to look at too before we would make decisions. That's one thing I have to say. But
if I could just interject.
How did this ordinance come about? Who did the council? How did it come about, please?
Council?
Chairman directed me to draft it, and I drafted it. And I'd just like to point out to you that a planning board is a quasi-judicial board. Here's testimony, as you know, makes determinations based upon that testimony. Freeholder board is not such a board, as you know. So it's a different function.
Different function. Right, we're asked by the council to review certain things and make recommendations, and then.
Well, you actually make decisions. You don't. There's certain recommendations
right,
you make.
But the council also approves what we resolve, or we had. Anyway, that's not what I want to talk about.
I got it.
Okay, so did everyone agree to this? In
Well, we'll
other
see.
words, did you-
We said we're gonna vote on it tonight.
Well, through the chair.
Yeah.
Through the chair.
Okay.
I
I have a question. Yes, okay.
Just want to say one thing. We all sit on different boards. Like we all chair different boards. We all, we can't all be on the same board because there's so many, departments that go on up here. And usually what ends up happening is that based on each board that you chair, you come back and you give your information based on your, who you've sat down with, who you've spoken to give your information to go forward with that of what we believe. Chair of Social
So who
Services.
sat down with all the, okay, so who
Chair-
sat down with the law enforcement in Bergen County, found out what they actually did and what they provided for us? And I can see what we provided based on they provide.
That was me.
Sir,
This was yours.
Sir, can
What's
we,
my-
can we wrap up if you will not? Please get to-
Well, I
get
have
to
this
your-
very important things. Okay, I have
I
a question.
understand that, but
What
we're
happens,
time
okay,
constraints.
if this, yeah, but they deserve, the 89 men that possibly could be laid off by your actions deserve, whatever we want to say and whatever we can add to this to help protect their jobs. What is going to happen in this resolution? What particularly is going to happen to 89 men when you pass this? The next day, are they fired?
No. Counsel, could you go through it again,
The
please?
implementation is going to be unsatisfying to you, sir. The implementation is going to be the county executives and the sheriffs. That's the
Right,
best
and I was
I
at
can
your
do.
work meeting.
That's the best I can
And
do
the county
for you.
executive said that this is not going through.
We all heard
She's
it.
not going to support that. Well, they didn't hear that.
Who's that?
The public hasn't heard that. They weren't, everybody wasn't at the work meeting. The county executive said, correct me if I'm wrong, this isn't going to happen, she's not going to support it.
If
And
it is
there's no
passed,
plan, so she can't, okay. But here, the function, on number 2, the function, powers, duty, responsibilities of county police are hereby transferred to the sheriff
Sir,
of Bergen County.
sir,
My question is,
Please.
you don't have anything
Sir,
about the
limit
men
time.
and the employees.
Please, I'm trying to limit your time here, come on,
I know what you're trying to do, please answer me.
You don't have to
I'm not gonna answer it.
I think he's
You're
out
not
of
going to
order.
answer me?
Chairman, you can.
What's going to
declare
happen to the
time
men
is over.
when this, if this gets
Chairman.
passed?
Your time is up, you're out of order. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I do believe that this
This is
gentleman
ridiculous.
deserves the same respect that
He
we've
got- he-
given other people. on here.
I made my decision.
You made your decision, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's just vote.
Anybody else?
There's people stuff to hear.
All right, motion to close the meeting to public.
Anybody else want to speak?
I think there are more people.
I didn't see any. I didn't see any discussion.
There's a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, please. Please, there's another question. I didn't see any hands raised.
I did see her, that's why I said.
Okay.
Wait to get the microphone.
My name is Karen Haggerty. I'm from Lyndhurst. I didn't come. Karen Haggerty from Lyndhurst. Haggerty. I didn't come here with the question. I'm not prepared for what I'm about to say, but I have one now. Why is it, Chairman Freeholder Mitchell, that every time someone makes a statement or asks a question that is against your wishes, you get very arrogant and you don't let them speak? And I think it's disgusting.
Thank you for your comment. Is there any other questions?
But I asked a question. I want an answer.
I don't think, Mr. Chairman, that you're obligated to answer.
And I won't. Is there any other questions? She's done speaking. Comments? If not, I see no hands.
Doesn't have to answer.
May I have a motion to close
There was
the
a
meeting?
motion and a second?
Is there a second to close?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
All right, can we move on to the motions of unanimous consent, please?
Resolutions of unanimous consent, 1323 through 1366, 1368 through 1377, 1379 through 1390, 1392 through 1394, 1396.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Freeholder Dina Cola.
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll.
Yes.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell.
Yes.
Resolutions of non-consent.
Which one is it? 78? Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I'm sorry, let's call the motion, please. I'm sorry. You can just call the,
Oh,
you can do what you're going to do.
resolution number 1378.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, Freeholder Hermanson, upon my advice, is going to recuse himself from this vote. So I'll just let him leave the room, Mr. Chairman, with your permission.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, and then we'll have you right back, Mr. Freeholder Hermanson.
Roll call.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gans?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson is recused. Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Resolution 1391.
Record
So
reflect.
moved. Second.
Discussion.
Please.
13.
No, it's not.
This is
I'm
a,
sorry.
this is a resolution for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And I'm pleased to be one of the sponsors of this. And this is something that I've said every year for the last 10. I want to call attention to the fact that about 3% of the people who have breast cancer are men. And men, you have the same ability that a woman has to examine yourself, and if you see a lump where it's not supposed to be, get it checked out. Former Senator Ed Brooke from Massachusetts is one of the better-known people who suffer from this insidious disease, which can be fatal. So I'm pleased to give my support, but I'm also pleased to give public awareness to this problem. Thank you.
Chairman, thank you very much. Freeholder?
Today I'm wearing my pink shirt, and I have, thanks to Freeholder Driscoll, I have my pink ribbon. This resolution is very near and dear to my heart. My mother is a breast cancer survivor, also an ovarian cancer survivor, and my sister, who was diagnosed at 32 some 12 years ago, is also a breast cancer survivor. And anything that we can do to help with the awareness and to do things we can to help battle this disease, to have more survivors, to see more people who are out there on the walks, to do the right thing and make people aware, we need to do. And again, I'm a very lucky person because the two people in my life who did have breast cancer are still here. I know many people who, unfortunately, that's not the case. And we'll do everything we can on this Freeholder Board and where in the public, I hope, to do whatever is possible to end this dreaded disease. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Freeholder Voss.
The very first piece of legislation I sponsored was to get mammograms for women under the age of 40 because insurance companies were not paying for this procedure. And so even though you may be young, if you have symptoms or a history of breast cancer in your family, mammograms are absolutely essential. And the insurance companies should pay for it. And please don't neglect this because it's a very curable cancer if caught in the very early stages. And I was a teacher for many years. I had several students over the 40 years I taught who died of breast cancer in their 20s and 30s. And so I know firsthand that this is something that cannot be ignored.
Thank you very much.
Chairman?
Yes, certainly, Freeholder.
I want to thank Freeholder Hermanson for putting this up. I know Mrs. Hermanson pretty well, and she's one heck of a tough lady. I knew she was going to beat it when I heard she contracted it. I'm wearing my little pink tie tonight. Yeah, this is important. As Freeholder Gans said, men, you're not immune to this. It's important. It's curable, like Freeholder Voss said. It's there. If you just be aware. While we were having our work session, I got a text message from a friend whose mother was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I'm going to take this opportunity right now because she gets bored sometimes and she watches us on TV late at night. I tell her all the time she should get a hobby. She has twins and she has another one on the way. I think she found her hobby. But this is a woman who is pregnant with another child, and today she found out her mother is diagnosed with breast cancer while we were passing this resolution. So, Lexi, if you're watching, me, John Gill, and everybody else from the crew is thinking about you right now. So, thank you, Chairman.
Very nice, Freeholder. Any further comments? If not, roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola?
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll?
Yes.
Freeholder Felice?
Yes.
Freeholder Gantz?
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson?
Yes.
Freeholder Voss?
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell?
Yes.
Chairman, may I?
Yes, sir.
Resolution 1365-12 is a subdivision approval of Borough of Saddle River. Ms. Mastriano is a councilwoman in Saddle River, and based upon the advice of council, she remained on the dais during the vote on that resolution. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Next resolution is non-consent, please.
1395?
93.
93.
It's 95.
It's 95, yeah.
Typo.
Mistake.
So moved.
Deflation.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. I regret. I apologize, Freeholder Hermanson.
We're going to
please.
start all over again?
Good.
Yes.
1395.
Motion?
Move that, please.
I'll second it.
Any discussion?
I
Yeah.
thought that we were going to.
Oh, that's body of the
have
whole.
that by the body
Sorry.
of the whole.
Body of the whole.
I'll say it in
Whatever.
unison.
Okay.
Body of the whole.
All right. I'm never going to get a second here.
Freeholder, you have the floor.
Comment, okay. This is going to be real hard, but Eleanor Nisley was a wonderful, wonderful person. And she was someone that meant a lot to myself and to the people who are on this board. But even more importantly, whether it was party or politics, she was a family person first, and she was about doing the right thing, always doing the right thing. Even when it was hardest, you did the right thing. She reached out, and she was a bipartisan worker who worked hard with one side and the other side to make sure things got accomplished. You know, when I went through and I wrote this, and when I was honored to be able to speak at her memorial service and eulogize her, you know, I sat down and I looked at all the things that Eleanor had done for the community. And one of the things that stood out was that she had worked as a trustee on Bergen Community College. And we call that our crown jewel here in the county. And I said, you know, I don't know how many kids' lives that Eleanor herself has affected by doing what she has done on that board and as a trustee. And how many people would never know what she had done for them and for this community to get them to get another leg up, to become a more productive member and to do in society and to get a better job and have a better education. She was a wonderful, wonderful person. And I looked at her not just as a friend, but as family. And it was with great sadness to me that she had passed. She had a wonderful life, and I only wish that we all are half the person that she was. If we would be, I will tell you that we will be a much better society because of it. We should all strive to do the things that Eleanor did, the amount of time that she put in for community to help out. And I really would ask that if you guys would take a look out in the public on here, you have a chance to see this resolution and read it and see what she has done, because this is one very, very special person, and I'm honored to be able to move this resolution. And it's just unfortunate that we're moving the resolution posthumously, because I wish she was still here.
Thank you very much. Very, very good, Freeholder. Freeholder Di Nicola, did you have one?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to say very briefly that it was truly a privilege to know Eleanor. She was dynamic. She was so enthusiastic about everything she did. And she was a person who was about action, not just words. In fact, I still have my to-do list from her from August on the bulletin board in my kitchen. It's unbelievable that she's gone. And I hope that the next generation, no matter what their party or what their interest, is like Eleanor, because she got things done. And that was the most important thing, no matter what it took. no matter what compromise, reaching across the aisle, and we don't do enough of that. So
Thank you
we'll
very,
miss her.
very,
Thank you.
very nice for you.
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I forgot with the breast cancer awareness, I forgot to mention a name, and if it really, I'm ashamed that I forgot. Fielder Gans, Fielder Hermanson was up here when we had our breast cancer champion, Liz Calabrese, also up here, and one heck of a lady, another survivor of breast cancer, and I wanted to mention that. Regards to Eleanor, Eleanor was a, listen, let's be perfectly honest, Eleanor was one tough lady. She really was. When I went to her memorial service, it's not too many people that can have the likes of Pat Schuber, Kathy Donovan, and Loretta Weinberg eulogizing them. Anthony Scardino. It's just the epitome of bipartisanship was Eleanor. She knew, like everybody says, she knew how to get things done. She knew who to talk to. But she also put her partisan hat on when she needed it. Don't get me wrong. But she always had a smile on. No matter how bad it was, and you walk into a room and you think you had a lousy day out campaigning, and Rob remembers being there, and you walk into an office and there's Eleanor smiling, and she said, "Where's your smile today?" And for some reason or another, no matter how bad it was, you started laughing. First words out of Eleanor's mouth every time she saw me wasn't "Hi, Johnny." It was "How's the kids?" And I go back to the story of, we were at a party convention, and my wife had my 3 children. My daughter was off talking to her friends. And my wife had 2 autistic sons. Alec had a meltdown, as they call it, where he was uncontrollable, screaming, flapping around. And he was at the table, and he's banging on the table. And my wife, Holly, was getting upset because there was no comforting him. And when you have autistic children, you get a little embarrassed. Eleanor reached out and grabbed Alec's hand. And she said, "It's okay, honey." Within 2 seconds, Alec calmed down. That's the calming influence Eleanor had on everybody. That was Eleanor. She was the steady, calming force. And I'll tell you right now, I miss her every day. And I feel honored and privileged to have known her. It really stinks that the good ones go young, because to me, she was 30 years old because she had the energy of a 20-year-old. I'll tell you that much. So with that, Chairman, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll.
Absolutely.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson. Copy of the notice of hearing and ordinance number 1227 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 48:2-17 on Friday, August 17th, 2012. Ordinance number 1227, an ordinance dissolving the Bergen County Police Department.
Motion to open the meeting. to the
So
public.
moved.
Second.
Second, yeah.
Yes.
Any further comments from the public? Seeing none?
Chairman, you need to
Call
call the roll or vote on
The first
viva
one.
voce on opening it to the public.
Call the first one.
Can I have the roll? Is that what I'm,
Yeah.
Yeah, just on the motion to open.
motion to open? Do it. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
Just a motion to
Oh,
open.
we're gonna.
You can just say all in
okay.
favor.
Yes, you can. Viva.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, seeing none? Okay.
Motion to
Motion to
close.
close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Any discussion by the board members? Seeing none?
Yes.
All right, so
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Freeholder.
Yeah, well, I'm going to reiterate what I've said all along, that I think that it isn't prudent for this board to vote to dissolve a department where, once again, we learned during our work meeting, there isn't even a clear understanding of what the ordinance means upon its adoption, let alone how we are going to move forward. We also heard from the county executive that she is going to immediately veto the ordinance, doesn't agree with it, and she is our partner here in governing. So with this vote, we will incur an automatic cost to the taxpayers via the litigation, let alone complete uncertainty for the 89 officers and the other staff of the Bergen County Police Department, which may trigger its own litigation and costly litigation to the taxpayer. We've had the listening tours, and as one of the gentlemen said, there were a great deal of comments, an entire pad full of comments from the public, which we have not addressed yet. And Freeholder Gans, with all due respect, I haven't seen any of the feedback from the Gmail address that you gave out to the public during those listening tours. I did receive over 300 phone calls to my office yesterday evening, and I'll tell you that they were 8 to 9 out of 10 in favor of keeping the county police. We haven't discussed as a committee, a law and public safety committee, what this would do to public safety. And at the same time, we've done some real damage as a board to the 3 departments here. Morale is low. We pitted them against one another when we have an excellent sheriff's department, an excellent county police department, and a prosecutor's department as well. I believe that we owe them and the citizens of Bergen County better. It's time for us to lead. It's time for us to talk. It's time for us to consider them in the decisions that we make going forward. And in doing that, I do ask my colleagues to consider voting this down, setting this aside, and then continuing the conversation on how to increase cost savings in law enforcement and maintain the quality of life we all enjoy here.
Thank you,
Mr. Chairman,
Freeholder.
if I may.
Freeholder.
Thank you very much.
Vice Chairman.
I think we had an opportunity with the guidepost study that was not, this freeholder did not approve the expenditures of it through the prosecutor's office. I read through it. It, to me, was very clear about the cost savings, and we could disagree regarding the methodology of it, I could assume. But to this freeholder, I saw significant savings in to the taxpayers. When I ran for office, my goal was to promote smaller government. And I think this leads to that path. I certainly could be wrong, but I think the data speaks for itself. I believe that our role is an equal branch of government to the county executives. The county executive have every right to veto and litigate against our decision as an equal branch of government. For 300 years, there's been a freeholder board. For 27, there's been a county executive form of government. And I believe that sometimes you have to stand up for yourself, and the legacy that I will leave from this board will not be necessarily the particular issues, but rather the integrity of this branch of government. And that's something that is, to me, very important as a freeholder and as somebody who believes that there needs to be balance in government and checks and balances in government. So this has been a very passionate issue. I believe the time is now to vote. Never is there an exact time where you have all the information. It just, in the course of human activity, it doesn't happen. A physician, when he has to do surgery on a patient, says, well, I don't have that other x-ray. Well, guess what? They may have to make some type of decision to treat a patient. And I think the patient is Bergen County taxpayers. And by no means, I don't believe that the county police does an excellent job and the sheriff's department. That's not the question at hand. It's about looking at duplication of services and how we can reduce the size of government. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anybody else? Chairman? Yes, Freeholder. Freeholder Dresden.
Thank you. First things first, in regards to the referendum, my personal opinion, I think the judge is wrong. People have a right to speak. I was very disappointed that the judge went down that road. But then again, that's the judiciary. We'll be able to send them a message on Election Day. that's something I'll discuss later on. Looking through the two departments, we've asked since the budget time of working together, merging some branches. We see both county police and sheriff department have K-9 units. They should be together. Why do we all have separate email platforms? I don't know why. I hear different stories. I don't understand why they can't work together to get that accomplished. I also, in the meeting, heard about a reduction in pay for some officers of their $30,000. Well, let's put it this way. When you've worked for almost 23 years and you're looking at a $30,000 pay cut, you're not going to retire. Your significant other is going to tell you you're going to keep working. Nobody's going to retire. There's going to be no savings through attrition. Not for many years. In the back, I asked for an ordinance to be passed about a 25% pay cut for the freeholders. Walk the walk. I got a second from Freeholder Hermanson. It died. It died. It didn't even get the 2 other votes to get on the agenda. But the problem was, I was told by Freeholder Hermanson I shouldn't do it. I shouldn't put it on the agenda because we need 48 hours notice. I don't know. Sometimes use 48 hours, sometimes we don't. I also asked, since last July, for the prosecutor, the sheriff, and the chief to get into a room. I know the prosecutor sent out the letter. I got the letter the day it went out. Chairman Mitchell sent it out. A week went by, and then we got the message back from the prosecutor that it wasn't going to happen. I don't know who dropped the ball, nor do I care. I'm very disappointed. I challenge each one of those men to do it. I'm still challenging them. I'm willing to take a day off of work and be in my office on a day and lock the door and we'll work it through. Somehow, I don't think that's going to ever come to fruition. It's sad. In the back, when we were going through our work session, my concerns about weights and measures, a revenue-generating part of the county. People go out, check the gallons on the gas, check the scanning that's being done properly in the store, and they fine businesses for not doing that. That's a revenue generator for this county. That department is run through grant funding. I think for the 6 men there, I think they have probably like about $30,000 as their outlay. Most of their money is grant funded or self-funded. Do we need a merger? We have to look at it seriously. We have to look at it seriously, but we need to look at it smartly. I've been asking, I want to know where the men and women go on Thursday morning when this passes tonight. It's a figurative statement. It's not exact. And I have yet to get that answer. In the back, the sheriff said, the plan should be put together by us, the freeholders. And then I hear we don't have a plan. It should be put together by the county executive and the sheriff. So it's going back and forth, back and forth. What my thing is, we came in here and said you don't want to operate in silos. It seems like, yeah, we're back to operating in silos. Nobody wants to share. We need to start working together. And you know what? It might be merging one day. But we need to have a plan in place. I'm disappointed. I'd love to see this all work its way through. Unfortunately, I don't think it's gonna. Will a merger happen here tonight? I can't tell you. I don't know how everybody's voting. To be honest, I don't know how I'm voting yet. But it's got to come to an end. And you're right. But we all have to understand one thing, and I'll say it till the last day I'm on this board. I am so proud of our sheriff officers, our county police, and our prosecutor, and our county workers. I'll put them up against anybody in the state of New Jersey, no matter what. When we had our last hearing, and I was very proud of them, when we had a situation in the aisle with a group of people that came in, we're talking about county police officers that are sitting there watching the discussion of them losing their jobs, got up and made a wall right there between those people who were having a problem with the prosecutor and our dais. It says a lot about our county police, how professional they are. And mind you, in that line, was also sheriff officers. It wasn't just one. They stood side by side to protect us. And that's something we should think about. That's all I got to say, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Freeholder. Anybody else? Freeholder Hermanson.
Let me just first preface this as something real simple. My vote has nothing to do with the men and women of the Sheriff's Department or what I think of them or anything else. These are great people. These are good people who deserve not to be in the middle of this. They also deserve to have their contract done. They also stand here, to go in and have their deal made as they came forward, because they are doing their job and they have a right to go through and have their contract finished just like anybody else in this county and any other union has done. What needs to be done after this is to make sure that they get that done and that this happens, because right now I believe that a lot of what's going on is because of politics, and it's putting two people in the middle and it's causing issues between them, which is now causing concern and getting things done and getting their contract done. When it comes to public safety, it shouldn't be a concept when we're going to talk about a merger. It should be a concrete plan. I have children, 4, who go out and use the county parks every day. Well, not necessarily every day, I should say, but a lot of the time. They're out there with us, going around and doing our thing. And not that I don't believe that the county parks will be any less safe if we had our sheriff's officers in there and doing that. But I also believe that right now, the way things are, we're going to put an undue burden on those sheriff's officers to do something that is not necessarily part of their core requirement right now as a sheriff's officer. I look at it and I said, when we went through this, that I was the chair of law and public safety. And I say was because somewhere along the way that got hijacked. I don't know why it got hijacked, but it sounded like it did. And when I came in and I sat down with the concept of sitting with the prosecutor, the county, the chief, the police chief, along with the sheriff, we went through and we were trying to figure out ways to save money here in Bergen County. We went through IT. We talked about purchasing, of when we could purchase equipment together to make savings. We talked about doing things and ways of making things happen to work together as a cohesive law enforcement unit in Bergen County. And we were trying to do that, and we were successful the first 2 years. We have been doing that. We have gone in, and as I've said before, we have passed a 0% increase to the taxpayers and a 1.8% budget. We have proven what we said we were going to do when we were up here as freeholders, to do the right thing for the taxpayer. In the midst of all this, now we have everybody sitting here about what's going to happen. Where are we doing? There was never a plan, and I said it for 4 months. That where is the actual plan of what we were going to do? Tonight, finally, and we did have our press. It was sent to me 2 days ago that I had in the before I got to see it from the sheriff's office, and I had sat down with the sheriff and discussed some concepts with him in the last couple of weeks of what was going to happen. One of the things that the sheriff has stated implicitly is that he doesn't want to see a man lose a job, man or woman lose a job. I agree. We keep talking about 89 individuals. It's not 89. It's also the men and women who are downstairs who check your bags in the building here, in the courts, also at the juvenile at the detention center and at the homeless shelter right now. Who one of our gentlemen over there, one of the officers, was attacked at one time, just recently. These are people who are men and women who are busting their tail to take care of everybody in this county and protect the people in this county. I don't believe we should do something on a whim. I think what should happen is we should sit here and do the right thing. And if it takes a little longer to get done, so what? You do it right. And I will say that again about Eleanor Nisley. Eleanor Nisley taught me to do something and say to do things right. It's not that sometimes the easiest thing is not the easiest way of doing it. And the hardest thing sometimes is going to be the hardest decision you will make, all right, is going to be the one that everyone tells you should just do it. Well, that's not the way it works. Sometimes the hardest decision is the one that you look back at and you say, why am I doing this? Why? Because it's for the right thing for the people. And you know what? That's what it should be about. When you make a decision, you should do it for the right thing. And I have done that on that board. I believe that when I made a decision and when I voted my conscience, I vote for me, from only me. I don't vote for a party. I don't vote for, for a party boss. I stand up here and do the right thing for the people and for the public safety of the people right now. That's the most important thing. And I will say this again, and I'll say it till the day whatever happens on this, up or down. Bottom line is this: there is no plan. When I asked for details of this, of what we were going to do on the first time, on the first reading, I asked the chairman where we were voting on something with no details. And I was told, yes. Now tonight, I asked again, what are the details? We don't really know. So we're going to now try to construct something, finalize it, and put 134 men and women potentially out of work because of something that we just have as a concept. I will stand here before you as from the day that I was elected and told you I will do what's right. This is wrong. This is wrong. Let the votes fall where they may. But tonight, I know that I'm doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Anybody else? If not, Freeholder Gantz, please, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairman. We held a public listening tour in 6 different municipalities throughout the county. And I can't speak for anybody else, but I listened. And I think that you're going to find, well, you'll see what happens in the next few minutes as to whether my colleagues listened or whether they didn't hear. The one thing that I want to assure all of you is of the utmost integrity of the people that are involved in this process. There have been direct attacks on Chairman Mitchell. They're not fair, they're unreasonable, and very frankly, it's offensive to me. I've sat here for 10 years on the Freeholder Board and watched debates on many different topics, but there's no need to be personal about it.
You're here.
Right.
There's no question that Chairman Mitchell has examined this issue closely and is going to vote as he's going to vote. And you can disagree with his vote, that's fair. You can disagree with my vote, that's fair too. But what's not fair is to impugn a dedicated person, dedicated servant of the people. And you know what? Rob Hermanson, I say the same thing about you. There are some people that question motive, but to question integrity, it's not right and it's not fair. So I say in conclusion that I started with the premise that the guidepost survey should be thrown in the trash can. I still agree. Thank you.
Freeholder Bulls.
This particular issue has been around for much longer than I have been on the Freeholder Board, so I was running to catch up to do as much as I possibly could. I pride myself on listening to everybody, and so many people came up and said to me, out of the 21 counties in New Jersey, only 2 have county police departments. And so Bergen County is a unique county. We're the largest county. We have a huge population. We have special needs. But this was an issue because since most of the other counties had merged their departments, I wanted to do a little investigating on that. Many people are under the impression that this is going to save tax money. I don't necessarily think that on the basis of the information that we have, that we're going to see a tremendous tax saving. I've met with all of the people who are involved with the Sheriff's Department, the county police, the prosecutor, and really what I would like to see is a real meeting of the minds where people come together and discuss things, and not in a nasty way. I have been today appalled at some of the things I saw in our work session. I think that government has to be conducted with civility and dignity and integrity and honesty. And to vilify people because they don't seem to share the same opinion that you do, sit down and discuss it. I think that's the teacher in me, because I love debating, and this is what we need to have. Not just somebody saying, you know, you're doing this to save money, or you're doing this, you know, because the other counties have done it. We need to have something more than a concept, okay? There are ideas, but as I said, these ideas have been floating around since way before I came on the Freeholder Board, and I think it needs, you know, more concrete study. And you know, I just think that too many people react emotionally. I have gotten hundreds of calls, as many of us did. Some have said, got to have the merger because it's going to save the taxpayer money. And the others have said, our county police are wonderful, we can't do without them. And it's pretty much 50-50 as far as, you know, the calls that I have gotten. And I do listen. But as I said, I think that something more concrete than concepts have to be, you know, used. And not, please, don't vilify people who don't agree with your point of view. That's absolutely not what democracy is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Chairman, one last thing. I see our officers in the back. Let Mike and Brian, you here? Call me next week. You want to sit down? We'll go in the office and get some pizzas and sodas. We're going to work this out. I want this solved. I'm willing to sit down and be the referee if I have to, and I'm bringing a prosecutor in too. You three men need to get into a room and work together on this. It needs to get done. As Freeholder Voss says, we need a concrete plan to move forward. Thank you. Freeholder?
As a chair of law and public safety, I'm hoping that we'll be able to get the three people in the same room with the committee to discuss what goes on, whatever happens here, one way or the other. I just want to finish off with this last. Freeholder Felice earlier said that you know, there's times when you don't have all the information. Well, this is definitely one of those times, and that's the reason why we shouldn't be doing this.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, and I respect that opinion, but there are times that you have to make a decision, because if I have the floor, Mr. Hermanson, please. Well, you're just, if I could, you know, jump out of your seat, I could tell. I know you. Is that there are times that we're going to be judged on those decisions. And each of us here are passionate about it. Maura and Dave and yourself and the chairman, John, myself, and Freeholder Voss. But we've come to this decision and we're going to vote from our own experiences and our own point of view. And we've listened, and I've gotten a whole bunch of calls that have been directed for or against. But sometimes you have to make a decision with not all the information. Life doesn't provide you with that. In the world that we live in today, sometimes you have to make a decision without all the information. So I stand by what I said. I understand what you're saying, Rob.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that this is one of those times, definitely, because there's
But
not
I think
all the information out there.
And I'll just say my last word here, or words, is that this is the time I believe we need to make a decision. And as to David's point, we will. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
I asked the question be called, Chairman.
I agree with you. Can I have the roll call?
Absolutely. Freeholder Di Nicola.
No.
Freeholder Driscoll.
Pass.
Pass.
Okay.
Abstain?
No, I can pass. I pass my vote.
It's going to come back down to you.
Okay. Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
No.
Freeholder Hermanson.
No.
Freeholder Voss.
I'm going to abstain.
Chairman Mitchell.
Yes.
Freeholder Driscoll.
Abstain.
The question doesn't pass.
Okay. It's 2 yes, 3 no, 2 abstain.
Does not pass.
Does not carry.
Does not carry.
Kim,
Need a break?
Need a break? Need a break?
Okay.
Chairman,
She wants to go home.
could we take like a 3-minute break?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 3-minute break.
Senate line just the bottom.
It's all right.
It's okay, it's getting late, I get it.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I heard that too. I don't know. You're right.
All right.
Parliamentary procedure doesn't allow for it. We have to have.
Yeah, you know what? Sorry. You look short. It's a little shorter than I wanted, but my hair grows so
everywhere,
fast.
everywhere.
And it's expensive to get it cut, so I go. Short. Yeah, David.
Oh, David.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
On any subject.
Chairman.
Boy, that cleared the room out.
I make a motion. We.
Hi, Maria.
Many reports.
I saw you last week. You heard I was in the building?
Listen, you know what? I'm game with that. The one thing is the PO. I gotta tell you, no, listen, I could.
He's a good guy. Stop being
I think you came up with a brilliant idea.
My door's
Would you be all right with that?
Oh, no, he said you're a good guy.
Yeah.
I didn't see your door was closed.
I have no problem with
That's
that.
my door.
But we have another ordinance before us.
Yeah, why don't we do this?
I would love to.
Yeah, I'm all for
We
it.
just went to the men's meeting.
I'm all for
Look
it.
at that. Wow, Obama's
Johnny, you
stumbling.
still
He
have to
didn't
go
expect
through the
to
run
catch
with
such
it, so
a
we
vicious
won't say there's
beating
no.
tonight. I guess the guy was telling the truth. He said he wasn't coming to debate.
Saying we have no report, no
Everywhere I
report, no
read,
report. That's fine by me.
they're
He
saying.
says, wow, Obama really hates being challenged. You can see it in his face.
Yeah.
You know what? That's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah,
They
oh,
should
that's
have been doing this.
All right. Oh, still waiting. I'm sorry. We're still waiting on Freeholder Jazz. He'll be here momentarily, I'm sure.
This is it. This is
Get the warrant signed.
Speaking of seven.
right. I know.
Need the energy.
No problem. No problem at all.
Public hearing and adoption of ordinance 1229.
One thing.
Proof of publication of ordinance 1229. Notice of public hearing
Excuse me,
was
Madam Clerk.
published.
I have to recuse myself from this matter. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Was published in the record on Sunday, September 23rd, 2012, is on file in my office. Copy of the notice of hearing and ordinance number 1229 was duly posted pursuant to NJSA 48:2-17 on Friday, September 21st, 2012. Ordinance number 1229, an ordinance eliminating the pay-to-play practices in Bergen County.
Motion to open the meeting to the public?
Second. All in favor?
All in favor?
Are you opposed? Anyone from the public?
Stiesman?
As chairman of the steering committee of Bergen Grassroots, let the record show that we have looked at the ordinance. We think it's a big mistake. We don't think it makes any contribution to the spirit of reform in Bergen County, and we urge you not to accept it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What about a public apology for Mr.
That's not necessary.
All right.
It's not necessary, but thank you, Fredo. Anybody else, sir, wants to speak on this ordinance? No, this is only on this ordinance. Seeing,
Yeah,
no,
what-
I beg your pardon, I'm very sorry.
I just want to say that 1111 makes sense. If you're someone who believes in big government, you want government to look absolutely honest. It has to be a perception as well as a fact. If you believe in small government, you don't want a lot of money coming in that overflows and tends to make the government become bigger. I don't see how anyone could be against this bill. And I also was a little offended that it was introduced on the high holy days and that it's having its second reading on the night when I would like to be listening to the debate. And it hasn't gone through one cycle. It hasn't been tested in the courts. And that's all I have to say. I hope you all do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Seeing none, could I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any discussion by board members?
Briefly,
Freeholder?
as I look out in the chambers, and I can count the number of people that are here now on two hands, I just want to say that the people who have said that this is gutting pay-to-play haven't looked at what it is that we've done. Freeholder Hermanson worked very hard on this. Freeholder Di Nicola worked very hard on it, and many other freeholders did as well. And the timing of this, which some of you have said is suspicious, it's just part of the process. What this really does is eliminates regulation of people who are giving contributions to Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. It eliminates federal contributions to the U.S. Senate campaign and the congressional campaigns. It eliminates purported freeholder regulation over state assembly and Senate candidates and municipal candidates. They're all governed by elect, and they have nothing to do with the freeholder board. The freeholders, still for themselves and for the county executive and the constitutional officers, the surrogate and the clerk, are still subject to all of the regulations that are there. This is not the substantive change that anybody is projecting or talking about. In any event, I am proud to cast my vote in favor of this ordinance change because I genuinely believe that this will affect the reform that the Freeholder Board intended last year when we adopted this. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Freeholder Vice Chairman.
I was the lone no vote in the original pay-to-play ordinance, and I was very proud of that because free speech is an inalienable right under the Constitution, but if you're wealthy, you could spend as much money as you want. And in effect, what that did, that ordinance, was to have a chilling effect on free speech. The effect of many of the people well-founded in their feelings about pay-to-play is that it's going to open it up for average people to run for office. But in effect, what it would do and will do will make it more difficult for the average person to run for office. That's my opinion. I'm going to be supporting this revision because this, I believe, will loosen and provide more of free speech, which is protected under the Constitution. So, if you have money in this, there's no restrictions. If you're personally wealthy, there's no restrictions. But if you want to be able to raise money, I have the floor, please. Thank you. You had your chance to speak. I have my chance to speak.
All right, Freeholder, just continue your
Thank
remarks,
you.
please.
So I'm very proud to vote in the affirmative for this new ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Freeholder. Anybody else? Freeholder Di Nicola.
Mr. Chairman, I am a strong proponent of pay-to-play restrictions and did work on the first ordinance. I do agree, perception is reality. And we want the clear perception that county government operates under the same restrictions as state government and other entities as well. I don't believe that this is a constitutional issue, and I'll tell you why. Because strong pay-to-play laws are upheld all over the state of New Jersey as well as in the nation. So I don't see that as being an issue. I do think that we need greater clarity with pay-to-play, as we saw during our work meeting. We have an issue with our forms, we have an issue with understanding where responsibility lies here, and that may be a discussion that we have moving forward. We did have Heather Taylor here who offered her expertise in that discussion, and I would suggest that we take her up on it. But I do believe strongly that we're doing a disservice to the county of Bergen by changing our pay-to-play ordinance in this way. Contrary to what Freeholder Felice said, with all due respect, I believe pay-to-play restriction actually does bring campaigning back to the people, to the regular person. That's who we want to attract. And those are the people we want to support us, not the big donors who are in it for the next contract. And once again, I want to say that we aren't limiting the contributions of the average person. We're only restricting the donations of those that want a public contract. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Freeholder Hermanson.
You know, when I started this process of pay-to-play, it started in 2006. Didn't start here, didn't start on the Freeholder Board, which there was a lot of, press out there saying that, that this happened because of something that got up here when I met some of these other groups that were talking about pay-to-play. If anybody would like to know where pay-to-play started with me and what I believed in, all you have to do is go back and check my record as a councilman in 2006 in the township of Mahwah, where we passed pay-to-play legislation in the township. And I was proud to pass it then. And when I I came forward and ran for freeholder in 2009, it was one of my campaign promises. It wasn't going to be something that was easy at that time. There was five Democrats. There was actually 7 at the time. All right, and myself and my running mate ran. And we believed in the concept of doing the right thing and not having Bergen County for sale. When I won, I made a promise that I would get up there and do everything I could to make sure that pay-to-play was introduced, and not only introduced, but passed. And you know what? The first year, I got shot down. Freeholder Gans came in a work session, straight work session, and put it up for adoption, and had it seconded by another freeholder, so that it could go through and be passed, and then it was gone. It was over. You wanted your resolution, here it is. You wanted your ordinance, here it is. Put it up, go ahead. And it was shot down, and it was buried. And it was never going to be brought up again. Well, then the Freeholder Board changed. And we put up people who had promised that they were going to put pay-to-play reform on their docket, and they made a promise to keep pay-to-play. Those people were elected. And when they came forth, we put pay-to-play back up again. Miraculously, Freeholder Gans and another freeholder at the time found their courage or somewhere, or I guess went to see the Wizard in Oz and came around and switched sides. All right, and ended up voting with us. And this time, it was a 6-1 vote. Well, you know what? Courage is what you need with pay-to-play. This year I'm running. And I had no problem with the restrictions that were placed on pay-to-play to run my campaign. And I said that I asked that if this was going to be done, to do this after this election cycle. Not to bring it up now, not to be discussed now, because it doesn't need to be changed at this point. I was told, never mind, we're going to do this. Again, it was something else that was, put in, slid under our doors, last second, talking about what was going to be happening here at this point. This is the way things have been getting done around here lately. I'm not proud of it. Bottom line is, this pay-to-play legislation, the one that was passed, may not have been perfect. But you know what? It was what's on the books now, and it's what started in January, and it was what should be finished at the end of this year for all election cycles. It should be changed in the middle. I will live by the pay-to-play of what it is currently, right now, regardless of whether this goes up or down tonight. Because that's the promise that I made to the people, that I was going to deliver pay-to-play reform. And I will do that. I will tell you that I'm disheartened tonight to go through and see that what really is happening here, and I understand what Freeholder Gans is trying to say, that he's trying to make a change and do the right thing and not affect the locals and the state. That's true, because that is exactly what we said. And anyone who said that that's not what we tried to accomplish who are at our committee meetings is not telling the truth. Because that is what we try to do. And I believe that there is attorneys out there who've taken this and looked at it and said, this is what this means, you can't go here, you can't go there. And I don't necessarily believe what they were saying. But I do believe this, that whatever is there now, I'm willing to live with. And I think everybody on this board should be able to live with too until after November. And then if there's something else that wants to be discussed, or they want to do something to make an adjustment, to try to make sure that it fits exactly the way the committee stated and how we try to go about it originally, we should do that. But to go and change this in midstream now, I think is a farce and is nothing more than a slap to the taxpayers and to the people here in Bergen County. Bergen County should not be for sale. And if we have to build our campaigns on the Bergen County Republican and Democratic organizations on 1.5% of the people who actually do work in this county, we are in deep trouble. Deep, deep trouble. I didn't run that way the first time. I ran on a message, and I believe that's what this should be about. When elected office should be about issues and concepts and delivering a message. And I believe that that's what we should be voting on, and we should not be changing this pay-to-play law. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hillary. If there's no other further discussion, can I have a motion on the ordinance?
So
please?
moved.
Second.
Second. Roll call, please.
Freeholder Di Nicola.
No.
Freeholder Driscoll is absent.
He's
Recused.
recused himself.
Freeholder Felice.
Yes.
Freeholder Gantz.
Aye.
Freeholder Hermanson.
No.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Chairman Mitchell.
Yes.
Carries.
All right, we're on to committee reports. If we could just mention that we don't have committee reports tonight.
Yes, I would like that to happen.
I've just start Freeholder Gantz.
I am going to have the briefest committee report that you can imagine. But I want to show, I'm going to be a grandfather, and and this is a sonogram of a peanut that is about
A what?
8 weeks old, and I couldn't be happier with Scotty and Samantha.
Congratulations, David. Freeholder Di Nicola.
Bergen Wellness, thanks.
I'm sorry. Freeholder Di Nicola.
I'll just be very brief too. I want to say we had a very successful Access for All Summit on September 22nd up at the Law and Public Safety Institute. I want to thank Peter Hodge for being very welcoming for us. We invited all 70 municipalities. We're going to follow up with a second one through the County Executive's Office on an issue that came up that's very pressing with citizens with disabilities, and that's transportation. And we hope to do that sometime in the spring. And we will rope in a lot more volunteers, and hopefully we'll get even a greater crowd there. Quickly, I want to say there was a large article in the Sunday Record about Bergen County bridges. The author of that article is in the room this evening. But I would like to address some of the facts at some point that were in the article, make some corrections, I'll say, in regard to some of the money that's being spent. But we can do that offline. I do want to assure the public that all of our bridges are safe, that we have plans for anything that needs addressing, and it's never about money. We get on top of things right away here, and we make the changes that we need to. Quickly, I know Freeholder Hermanson will address the POW MIA ceremony that we had. I just want to thank the VFW 227 out of Rutherford who was there. They presented me with my mother's Blue Star pin, which I proudly wear now. And I look forward to working with them and all of the rest of our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Freeholder. Freeholder Hermanson.
I'm going to be very short, within 30 seconds. I just want to say that we had a wonderful celebration for two individuals who came from Lyndhurst, who were POW MIA Recognition Day ceremony. Wonderful event. Great job by the county executive. and her staff in order to put that together. And the last thing is that yesterday I attended the Friendship House ribbon cutting for their kitchen, that going out there and along with Freeholder Boss, some of my friends in the audience were there. Wonderful event and great thing for taking care of the people here in Bergen County. That's it.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Freeholder. Freeholder Boss.
I just wanted to say Friendship House is a wonderful thing, and they help so many people, and we should have more institutions like that. And they prepare people with disabilities for jobs and to be very productive people. So I love that place, and it's a nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Freeholder. Freeholder.
And good morning, everyone.
Those people watching at 2 a.m.
I'll defer my comments. Thank you.
Freeholder Joseph.
Attended the Bergen Community College Student Government Retreat this past weekend. Great thing. Secondly, I say on October 27th, Bergen 26, Bosco 17. We'll see you all at the football game. Be there. It's going to be a great time.
Thank you, Freeholder. I'll just close very quickly by saying, democracy is a funny thing. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lost, but tonight we saw democracy at work. Thank you very much.
Chairman, respectfully, I disagree. Democracy, you always win.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.